Welcome to the Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Moon Harvest, Omishertha, Naughty Thumbnails, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mel's 24, Unimento, M Iron 26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKinnon, Retro Bill, More Books, Fibre Oats, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Tina Baker, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Brilliant.
Come again?
We have to go to Narnia and back, my friend, even in virtual reality.
Didn't catch any of that. Something about Narnia?
Well, in this clip here, they say like they're going to put the VR on his head of this supposed flat earther, and then watch the stream from the camera. The VR thing that they're going to put on his head. I will not even go into discussion on how this works. You know?
Okay. Are you talking about the video that Paul sent for covering today? It's Jack Gordon thing. Noob.
But you know, the VR headset and this virtual reality in order to stream the cam view from some helium balloon. Come on, man. They can use simple cam without eye fish.
I'll assume
Then
that's what you're
look
talking
for the-
about, right? You're talking about this video that Paul's given us to cover today. Jack Gordon, Flat Earther sees space for the first time. Guy with VR goggles on.
But I just heard the words, you know, I'm driving, no screen.
Oh, okay. It just took a time. I wasn't paying attention when you were listening to it. I was just sound checking it, so I wasn't actually listening to what he was saying. I was just checking the levels. I wasn't really paying attention, so it made no sense when you... Yeah, okay, it makes sense now. Thank you. Yeah, that's what we'll cover today.
You're welcome, sir. I'm glad to listen, you know, to these shows when we go to Narnia and all of that, man. Come on. But sometimes you have to talk with them on this manner, right, Nathan?
I can't really fully make out what you're saying, noob.
Yeah, your mic is a little bit
He's in the car.
echoey or dodgy today.
I think he's in the car.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. It normally sounds clearer than this, though.
Where's the rest of the G Plus panel?
Well, we got Neil. That's all you need.
Got Neil. Yeah. Where's everybody else?
We're in Discord. I got the LVA Paul. You got me. As for refracted and so forth, I'm not sure. Armin's almost finishing the show.
Did I hear somebody say that there's no tinfoil hat man today? It must have been my funny hearing playing tricks on me again.
Right. I was wondering about 10th Man. Has anybody heard from 10th Man?
Yeah, I've been keeping in touch with 10th Man.
Okay.
Got medical issues. He's got to do family medical issues. Is what he's dealing with.
Yeah. You don't got to talk about it. I heard it in your tone.
He's all right in himself, but that's because he's a chirpy, strong character, right?
Right.
All right, 2 or 3 minutes. We'll go live. So we could just sit in silence for 2 or 3 minutes. That's always good.
Yeah, we could try it like this. Start in silence and see if there's more reaction on the live show.
Yeah, this will be great
As
on
a
the
result.
playback. Wonderful.
Right.
I'm
So what's
surprised
there to
the
chat about it?
I'm surprised the Jordan Peterson didn't generate more interest.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not really into
I had
Jordan
to really
Peterson myself.
Well, I just had to, push the subject to be talked about in the after show, because in the live show we covered it for 5 minutes and that was about it. I brought it up in the pre-show so everyone knew what we were talking about. Didn't make any difference. I think it's because it's reactionary from me. So typically when we cover stuff, it's not me that's picked it. And normally I've only picked it because I've come across it while I'm trying to not work. I'm watching the iPad and I'm sat in the kitchen or something. The next thing you know, they're mentioning flat Earth. I'm like, ah. So it doesn't necessarily make a great video when I pick them. Hence, I don't like picking them.
Yeah. You're still here,
Let's
right?
hope they all don't pile in en masse when I actually do start the live stream.
Yeah, I think so. Even if you don't, it worked in the olden days. Remember, you had silence for like who knows how long.
Yeah, that's
Things still went
that's
forward.
no good.
Why not? Would be like, well, you got some of us.
Nobody
Surely
wants to watch
some of
that.
us will pipe up.
Fortunately,
Some of us will pipe up, Nathan.
Check, Mike.
Yes, that's much better,
Check.
Neil. Yes, wonderful.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Any further movement with Dean Odell, Neil?
What was that? I didn't hear you.
Any further updates on Dean Odell? I know you were trying to get in touch with him. Have you sent him an email yet? Have you arranged to meet with him?
Not yet.
You haven't sent him an email even?
No. I don't
see.
like the way it sounds. I've worded it. I've written it down a few times. I don't like the way it sounds. I'll run it by you when I get home. I'm on the road right now, and then you tell me how it sounds.
No, fair enough. We'll see how it goes on. Let's just let Eli in and we'll do a bit of housekeeping. Hey, Eli.
Hello.
Hello. Right, let's do some housekeeping. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
Absolutely not. Sorry, my mic is,
A lot of it about today, Eli. Don't worry about it. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
Cam from the chat says X is probably going down. Okay, well, maybe don't share on X. Share on Bebo and MySpace instead. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. Yeah, I'm going to lean on you guys, Neil and Eli. That's right.
I just got back in the car. What did I
Don't care.
miss?
Just any evidence thereof, scientific, for gravity.
What is gravity? Let's talk about that first. What are we talking about? Are we talking about Einsteinian? Are we talking about Newton's gravity? Which one? Specific gravity?
Specific gravity is just relative density.
Well, I was thinking,
So
like,
why they call
these
it
questions
specific gravity?
They need to convolute the subject matter, as some would describe it, muddy the waters. So if you've got a gravity that 108 years ago described the force that held you to the spinning water ball, and then people realise that there's physical applications of principles that defy that, they change it. So 108 years ago, we have the emergence of bending space-time, so that you can have it once removed from anything physical. Yeah? Well, when people start to realise that once removed bending space-time is non-physical, but it needs to be holding you to a spinning water ball, you need lots of other different gravities, so that people get confused, muddying the waters, so to speak. Now, in schools, they still teach the 108-year out-of-date rhetoric because they still need a force to hold them to the spinning water ball they're not standing on. But in reality, it isn't current rhetoric. It's currently bent space-time, superseded 808 years ago, I think it was, almost 109 years ago now. It's claimed in terms of Newtonian or Einsteinian to be scientifically backed. It's claimed to be science. That's why I thought that it would develop more of a discussion yesterday when we brought the Jordan Peterson thing in. Instead, I was criticised because apparently my view of claiming to be a scientist when you're a psychologist being fraud, when you're putting out your, I don't know, statistical analysis like it's scientifically valid. I was shot down. I don't quite know why. I haven't listened back to yesterday's show yet, but I thought it would develop more of a conversation, but it didn't. Such is life.
Well, the thing is, Nathan, the guy thinks that it's science. I mean, come on, the whole world has been duped into pseudoscience being science.
Yeah, it just saddened me because I think there's a lot of things that Jordan Peterson has to say, views he stands for, that I agree with. So it's sad when you see somebody like that you're like, I'm only watching him because I'm obviously enjoying watching him. Regardless of how it's been presented to me off the cuff by YouTube, I'm still engaged in it once it's in front of me. So there's a reason for that. You think, okay, well, there's no need for you to steal any valor here. You've earned all the credit you need. But obviously
You don't
not.
know you're stealing something, Nathan. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You said that to Tinfoil Hat Man the other day. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. Then you know it. You got me? So we got to get to these people and, at least reach out to people like Jordan Peterson and show him where he's in error.
Yeah, well, I hope that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to cover another video today. I have no idea if it'll be helpful, but we'll see. We will see. I've asked it already, but any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
That's a negative. None.
All right, any evidence that you can have gas pressure that we're all breathing without a container?
So are you saying if there was a space, would gas fill it?
Yeah, that's what gas does.
So we seem to have a problem here then.
Yeah, we do. The whole world thinks
The
they've got a
world
sky
thinks that
vacuum above.
gas is filling a vacuum, and it's not.
Yeah, the whole world thinks there's a vacuum above their head, and natural law would dictate that if there was a vacuum above your head, then the gas you're breathing would fill that space. Gas fills space. Space, outer space, the sky vacuum is fake. Well, any evidence of physical geometric sphere edge, a horizon formerly known as Earth curvature. Almost 50 people watching. Please share the show if you've not done so already.
There needs to be more than 50 people watching. That's number one. Number two, I'll answer your question. It's an impossibility to have a horizon on a spherical globe. That's an impossibility. Earth is flat. That's why you see a horizon.
Okie dokie then. Right, as I say, we do have a video that we're going to cover today. If I can find the thing. Is it? It is. Okie dokie. As always, please let this videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So I'm going to stick a link to his specific video that we're covering today. As always, we're covering it cold, but doesn't mean that we're not necessarily going to be complimentary. We may be. We'll see. There's a link going by in the chat now. So while I'm yammering and doing this call to action, hopefully a few of you will actually do this. Let me just clear my throat. So please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And the name of the videographer is Jack Gordon. So again, this has been provided very kindly by Paul. So thank you, Paul, for giving us this video. I don't know what it's going to be about other than sound checking it. I haven't actually watched this yet, which is always the case, typically speaking, when we cover these videos. But yeah, if you can just leave him a nice comment, as I say, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And we do this in, obviously, support of the videographers that we cover. It's nice when they see people seeing that they've watched their video and leaving them a response, helping them in the algorithm, giving them that comment and like that they all beg for, including me. But the idea is that should they respond, they would do the same for us. That would be to say that they'd put a link to this channel, and potentially, if it's this video that they're responding to, a link to this video in theirs to help us in the YouTube algorithm, where YouTube themselves do not. So yes, let this videographer know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. I'm sure Jack Gordon will be extremely elated for your presence in his comment section. So we're going to get into this. Feel free to interrupt if you're on the panel at any point.
This flat earther is about to see the curvature of the Earth with his own eyes. See, most of us think the planet looks like...
Oh, there's a problem straight away. When you say see the curvature of the Earth, I can only infer that he's inferring that at altitude you see the edge of the sphere as depicted in this CGI rendering. No, the horizon is not Earth curve. As Neil just pointed out, you can't have a horizon, a rate of change. It's a slope. Well, that curvature that you've described isn't possible to be depicted as something that is useful for establishing horizontal. That's the horizon. So the horizon isn't Earth curve. In case you haven't kept up, we debunked this in 2020. So I'll go through it now for your indulgence, Jack. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that horizon you're claiming you're going to show this flat earther could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as laid down in the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths. And the distance to the horizon in the Black Swan is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere Earth as depicted here. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere, and the horizon is not Earth curve. So, let's see where this goes.
Like this. But the thing is, 10% of the world thinks the planet looks like this. And this is one.
10% of the world thinks that the planet looks like this. No. A survey that was recently exhibited, let's say, by Mark Sargent, alluded to the idea that 90% of the world don't think it's flat, 10% do. Right? That was the statistic that I read. Now, number one, according to Vic Reeves, 64.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. But notwithstanding that I don't necessarily lend that much credence to these statistics, who cares? Right? It's sad when all the people who are coming off the ball want to do is gauge the consensus for how strongly the consensus agree or disagree with this notion. It's one of the first things he's presented. It matters not if there is no percentages that you could register as flat earthers. There's just one dude saying it's flat with evidence of how it's measured flat for you to recognise, if you've got reasonable sensibilities, that it's flat, if that's how it's measured. It doesn't matter about how many people in consensus. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be people out there like Neil who are really pleased that there's more people around him that know it's flat. But I don't even think that would be the case. I think if you were to actually go to each of those people, if they've been surveyed at all, and ask them how they know it's flat, I think there'd be a tiny percentage that actually knew it was flat, as opposed to believed it was flat.
We're going to be seeing if he's right. Step 1, launch a balloon into space.
My name is Sebit.
Step 1, assume that we are sending a balloon to a sky vacuum. Anybody got any issue with that? Straight off the bat? The assumption that the balloon's going to go into space? What, like an area of volume that gas could fill? An area of space? A space? Gas fills space. Look at this guy, he's breathing it. The gas that this guy's breathing would also go into that space. If it was an area of volume for gas to fill, gas would fill it. That's what gas does. Without containment, we'd never achieve gas pressure here on Earth. There must be containment. If there's containment, a barrier, then there's no way of traversing it if you're a rocket. If the rocket can traverse whatever barrier we have keeping the gas here, then so can the gas. In natural law, the second law of thermodynamics, would be violated by this notion that the area above your head is a space for gas to fill, because gas would fill it, in line with entropic law.
And I believe the Earth is flat.
See? He believes it. So you're useless to me, my friend, because I don't care about your flat Earth belief. In fact, I see you as my enemy now, in many ways. Sad as that may sound coming from a flat earther, but somebody who believes the Earth is flat isn't helping anybody.
2, 1.
That's why you're doing this. Yeah? I don't need a balloon to go up into the sky to look at the horizon, because that's all you're doing. Looking at the horizon from high up in the sky. The horizon's not Earth curve, so this is useless to me. In the meantime, all of the maps and models that a globe would be using have been derived from elevation angle measurements to Polaris to give you all of the orbital motions and the flat plane that is depicted on, so that you can then extrapolate out radial values of a sphere. Now, I don't need to go and look at the sky to say that, but that means that I wouldn't be in this position, would I? Sitting on camera telling people about their flat Earth belief. I don't have one. I know it's flat.
Step 2, live stream what the camera sees into his vision using a
Well, you're just going to be showing him the horizon, aren't you? Who cares?
VR headset.
Oh, whoa. I'm seeing clouds.
That's the horizon. Yeah? That's not Earth curve. That's the point where the land or sea meets the sky. It's not a geometric limitation to your view at 1.2 times the square root of the observer sine feet. We've debunked it.
That's awesome.
These are the people that hurt us. These people right here. I don't know if I'm roboting, but cats like this doing stupid things like this. This is what hurts flat Earth. The horizon is not Earth curve.
Yeah. That's it. That's the bottom line here. The horizon's not a hill in the way of things. Who cares what you can see of it at altitude?
Wait for the balloon to reach space and see.
Wait for it to reach an area of volume that all the gas we were breathing could be filling. 10 to the minus 17 torr. Sky vacuum. There isn't such a thing. It's absolutely absurd. We would have never developed gas pressure in the first place. The first particle of gas would have left the ground, travelled in whatever vector it left the ground in, and it would continue in that vector until it either bumped into something. Well, that's it. That's the only thing it can do. Until it bumps into something, it would just keep going. So if the Earth in its fledgling form in your reification of a flat Earth measurement turned into a sphere in a sky vacuum was to come out of the ground, it would never ever bounce off something. That would be press on something to form pressure. And every subsequent gas particle that left the ground from there on in would do the exact same. Leave the ground in whatever vector it's travelling and keep going in that vector, because there's nothing to hit. So it's never going to press on anything. So how are you going to have a whole bunch of them for us to breathe at pressure if there's nothing to press on? It's utterly absurd. Space is fake. Outer space is a lie.
What he says.
How did you first come about, like, flat Earth?
I've been high up. I've been on the airplane. You should be able to see the plane dip just to maintain travel across a globe Earth. And yet,
That's correct. Good argument.
I haven't felt no such thing.
He actually makes.
Sorry, but you haven't felt any such thing. Brian would turn over in disgust. Right. Yes, the first half of your argument was correct. Yeah, planes would have to account for the massive void opening up ahead of them at 8 inches per the mile squared according to globe maths. Okay, so if there's a void opening up ahead of the aeroplane, he's going to have to account for that. That is to say, nose down around the sphere of the Earth to stay at a similar altitude. They don't do that. They fly with their nose above the horizontal to maintain lift. Now, that's the conclusion, not I've never experienced it. Okay, what, as a passenger? How the hell would you know what the angle of attack of the plane is as a passenger? It means nothing. However, detailing as Brian does what happens on a plane concludes your debunking of a sphere Earth that has no account for planes going around it. They all fly straight and level. Why? Well, because Earth's flat. That's how planes negotiate the ground, because that's how the ground is. If there was a massive void opening up ahead of them, they'd use that space opening up ahead of them. And if they didn't, they'd fly off into outer space, which is fake, because they're going to get higher and higher and higher and further and further and further away from the ground that's falling away from them, if they're maintaining an altitude with respect to the horizon. So the plane that this guy's just detailed would utilize the horizon as a tool to establish level. It's not Earth curve, then.
Some pretty good points. But before we could address them, the balloons...
Pretty good point if he concluded it better with what planes actually do. They don't fly around a curve.
Hello, Nathan, by the way.
Hello, Arwin.
Started blowing away from us. And we have to stay directly under it to stay connected to the live stream, so we got in the car to start following it.
I would suggest that you have the music in the background at basically the same level as what you say, so we can't understand a single word you say. That's really good editing.
At the edge of the Earth is definitely an ice wall.
What? Sorry, my friend, why are you telling them that the edge of the Earth has an ice wall? Why? Have you been? Have you circumnavigated the current known territories to the tune of about 80,000 miles? Have you done that? No.
Antarctica. I'm very skeptical behind the reasons that people aren't allowed to just go and visit Antarctica.
Have you tried? I mean, you've been shown a government document that says that you can't by other flat earthers who use this useless argument that proves nothing and makes them all look silly. You don't know what this potentially 80-odd thousand mile ring that you're claiming is in existence. You've got no idea if that's there or not. None. But you're going to put your neck out and make yourself stupid by claiming it. If you don't know, don't say.
Really make a lot of sense to me.
We just landed in Antarctica and we're going to survive the next 50 hours here.
What about Mr. Beast? The balloon was getting higher and we were still...
There you go. So we overcame this argument by asking about somebody who'd taken a tourist trip to one section of ice. And that was enough to overcome this guy's argument in an instant. Why are you using it as an argument then? So the way to overcome this argument is just to show a fellow YouTuber on a bit of ice. And that's the end of that argument. Why are you using it? Has it proven successful in the past? How many people have you converted by telling them there's a freaking ice wall?
Still driving, but I had some more questions to ask him.
What about the idea of like falling off the edge of the Earth?
On a flat.
Well, he's the one who asserted he's got an edge, so you may as well defend this, Dumbo. You're the one who claimed it.
Earth, as you go towards the edge, you wouldn't necessarily just like fall off. You'd be able to kind of just like turn the corner and be able to walk down the edge.
What's he babbling about? What edge? Oh,
He's talking about a hard corner. It's like a cube earther or something.
I have no idea. He's inferring that there's an edge and that if you walk down towards the edge of it, you'll have, what, a Vsauce explanation for how that would work? Okay.
Fortunately, it doesn't seem like anybody's going to be able to get that opportunity. I don't think that they're letting anybody off or get anywhere close to Antarctica. You got some people blocking out.
I cannot hear a single word of this. Can you hear? Can anybody decipher what's going on? We've got a road noise, got music, got echo from wherever the second recording is. What's going on?
Yeah, it is messy, but I think they're discussing right now, or I saw a picture of how gravity is supposed to be like going to the middle of the disk again, that kind of nonsense.
It's Vsauce crap.
But it's on the video, they're showing that.
Yeah, I saw. Vsauce, they've taken it directly from Vsauce.
So far outside of the realm of physics that I can't even put it in my head.
We'll hear more from the professor later.
What you've heard from him so far is that he can't explain something. I didn't catch what he couldn't explain. I just heard him say it's so far beyond the realm of physics. No. This guy's not dealing with physics. You're joking. He's not a physicist. He's not doing experiments. You know, it's an absolute joke. But what, you're going to lean on him later? For what? His clue about scientific validity that he won't be offering?
The land around us certainly looked flat, but that made sense. Our camera, though, is at about...
Sorry, the land around you looks flat, but that makes sense. End statement. In what universe where you have reified flat Earth measurements onto a ball that you now think you're standing on, would it make the slightest bit of sense to look flat? That makes no sense. Why would you even state that? I know I'm on a ball, but it looks flat, and that makes sense.
Height that airplanes fly at, so it hadn't sensed much curvature yet.
So the camera's getting a little bit more level, but I feel like it's still a little flat. Like I don't see that much of a curve.
Sorry, what curve would you expect to see? Oh, the horizon. It'd be useful if you realised that you're never going to see any curvature with something that is used as a tool at altitude to establish horizontal. That would be the horizon. So given that the definition of horizontal has been derived from this word also, that's horizon, where in unholy hell do you get a curve out of that? You don't. But you're looking for it as a flat earther. So they've got you in a car with VR headset on your head, driving around aimlessly. Who cares? You're looking at the balloon footage. Why are you driving anywhere? So that you can look at the flat ground and just say, that makes sense that it's flat. The horizon's not Earth curve. This is absolute folly.
Do you see a slight curve though? No, I agree with them. I kind of
honestly, it doesn't even feel like a slight. And it's like, it could be possible that the domed Earth is a little bit higher than 100,000 feet, and so probably don't hit it today. Or, for all that I know, the domed roof could be what's popping the balloon.
Crap. Absolutely useless. So it could be a domed Earth. No. Are you breathing right now? Do you understand anything about how gas works? Gas at pressure, like we all breathe. Do you understand how that works? You know what gas pressure needs? It needs to press on something. So if this area was 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum and the high velocity gas moving in all directions was exposed to that vacuum, it would fill it instantaneously. So you saying, oh, well, I think it might be a dome. No, without the container, there can be no pressure. It's an antecedent-consequent relationship backed up by a law of nature, second law of thermodynamics. Entropy, dispersion, how gas behaves would dictate that we must have something for the gas to press on for it to be pressure. That's what pressure is. What's it pressing on up in the sky vacuum? Oh, it's just pressing on that massive area of volume it could fill when it's travelling at a high velocity. Just presses on that, right? You don't have any argumentation to be sat in front of these people, and they've clearly pulled you out of the masses of flat earthers they could have chosen from as a total nobody so that you can do this for them. Stooge.
That's interesting, actually.
The ice wall thing and so on, well, there are multiple national claims, including Argentina and Chile, slices of the South Pole. There is also a South Pole Treaty, and the U.S. station sits directly...
Sorry.
Oh, God.
Sorry, what does that prove? So, okay, I'll take that as read. There's a treaty about some area of land. Okay. And therefore, what? Therefore, there's a treaty about some area of land. Okay. That doesn't prove anything. Oh, well, there's a station there. Okay. And there's an area where we've got treaties that we say you can't go except for little tiny little tourist areas. And you can't go there. What about Mr. Beast? Yeah, why could my reply not just work exactly the same as his did? There's government areas that we're not supposed to go to, and here they are based on the treaties that we've got. But yet Mr. Beast can go. You know, doesn't that lend complete folly to this argument, which is now the contrapositive of what they put back to the flat earther? Nah, it's not off limits. Mr. Beast went there. But it is off limits. There's treaties and big buildings. Okay. I'll accept both. You can both go there like Mr. Beast, and there's treaties in place that say you can't go there, and there's big buildings there. Okay, I'll accept all of that, even though it seems stupid. What does that prove, pray tell? How does this help me decipher what the world is exactly? Oh, it doesn't it? Unless the flat earther has offered up a notion of an ice wall ring around us that we are stopped from going to. That lays waste to that nicely and nothing else. It doesn't help them prove it's a sphere, though, does it?
At the geographic South Pole. By the way, I mean...
But the geographic South Pole, that's his only illusion that is offered up in terms of sphericity. So there's poles, like an axis going through Earth based on a begging the question fallacy drops in at the end. I see. So because you say this building is in a place you say is antipodal from where I am in England now. But just because you say it, that's the proof. There is a building, it is cold, there is a treaty, and I say it's antipodal from your position now, therefore we're on a sphere. Wow, what fantastic standards of evidence this guy has. What about if I claim that Narnia is real? It's really cold in Narnia, there's a lot of snow there. Yeah? Oh, you can't go, you don't have a magic wardrobe, but there are definitely people who do go through the wardrobe. And there are massive buildings there. Look, it's on screen now. This is a Narnia building in Narnia that you can only access via the wardrobe. Why? Well, because Narnia's real. I'm just going to beg the question of it and affirm the consequent based on the fact that there is a large building with snow around it. Therefore, Narnia's real. That is the exact same standard this gentleman has just used.
If you believe in a flat earth, don't use your cell phone, because your cell phone...
Right, if I believe, I don't. It's measured flat. Orbital motions used to infer this CGI garbage with a sphere Earth horizon behind it would be taken from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars to develop a grid system flat in nature so that you can back engineer your angle measurements to those stars with the radial value taken from those stars on a flat plane so that Kepler can then give you orbits. So then you can render this garbage out in CGI and tell us that we're all stupid when we believe Earth is flat. Well, one hand says, yeah, you're right. Lots of numpty idiots believe Earth is flat. One of them's on this video. Yeah, we're not him. We have no such belief in a flat Earth. We can show you how the only way this CGI rendering came into existence was off the back of Kepler and Huygens and flat Earth measurements. Because this isn't real. This isn't a satellite in a sky vacuum. This isn't 10 to the minus 17 torr area of volume that all of this high-pressure gas would fill. It's absurd. It's not real.
Depends on those global positioning systems.
I see. So when you assume global positioning system, that's enough for the world to be a sphere and you to have a big, fat, chubby Yorkshire pudding face smirk on your face. No, my friend. Definitely not. Global positioning system also uses the Cartesian grid system that has been developed from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars. So your GPS, when you break it down in terms of how it actually works, proves Earth's flat. Oh, but it's got global in the title. Yeah, it has. But it doesn't change the grid system that's being utilised, that absolutely unequivocally has been developed from and utilises a flat plane. GPS is nothing more than a globe proof, you think? Because of the title? No, it's not. It's flat Earth proof, my friend. Look at how GPS works.
GPS is global positioning, that is true.
And
That is true, we call it global positioning, and it utilises a flat plane and a grid on a flat plane, latitude and longitude. Yes, so it's going to be using those grid systems that were developed by way of measuring angles off a flat plane, isn't it? Yeah, it is, yeah. So what's that global's going to wash with us? The ones without a belief in flat Earth? I mean, this guy's not contacting me, is he? He's contacting some absolute nobody. Because the guy'll stick on a pair of goggles and tell him how he can't quite see the horizon bending yet.
they are orbiting around the globe.
Orbiting, you say? No, my friend. See, your notions of an orbit have come from Kepler, and Kepler derived those orbital motions from flat plane measurements that gave him all of his predictive abilities to that point about where the stars would be. All developed by way of angle measurements off a plane. So no, your orbiting satellites I already covered, didn't I, when you put up your CGI? Not photos, not video, of reified sphere Earth horizons with sky vacuums in violation of natural law with Keplerian claim to be orbital motion. That maths needs a flat plane, my friend. But you think you can smirk about saying, well, we've got a global positioning system and stuff's in orbit around it. Yeah, way to beg the question. But when we dig down into where you got the maths to assert orbits, it's from a flat plane. That's where it all began. Notice how this isn't my flat Earth belief. It's me taking your claim that you think proves a globe and pointing out how the Keplerian angle measurements off a flat plane, off the equatorial plane, that's a plane, that's a flat Earth, with respect to a perspective-derived view of the stars and the angles, that's two straight lines, not one of them curved, off a flat plane to them. Not least of all to mention the grid developed with angle measurements to Polaris. That's how the whole system works, and you need a flat Earth to do it. So no, orbits prove a flat plane, because that's where they begin.
Yeah, it's got to go a tiny bit higher.
I feel like, I don't know, from this height or whatever, I'm wondering what kind of a curve we would see.
If there's a total lunar eclipse, the shadow of the Earth upon the moon...
Shadow? Oh, I've seen a lunar eclipse. It turned red, and it didn't disappear. And it went the wrong direction based on orbital mechanics. So, no. Why would you assume, that's begging the question, that it's a shadow? Oh, right, because in orbital mechanics, derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars, it would infer that the Earth's getting between the moon and the sun, or vice versa. No. No. See, that begging the question fallacy falls on its ass based on the assumption that it's a shadow being derived from a Keplerian system that took flat Earth elevation angle measurements to derive. So no, I'm not going to take your inference that some Keplerian flat Earth measurement that's inferring orbital motion causes this, what you beg the question of being a shadow, when it turns red. I don't see many shadows turning red. So how are you going to explain that? So do you want to show me a small scale example of a red shadow? No, you're not going to do that. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Shadows block the light from stuff. That's not what happens when the moon is in total eclipse, when it's bright red.
Moon is a round arc. So, you know...
Oh, what's that? Is that normally what happens when you completely block the light to something, it goes red? I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like a shadow. In fact, it looks so devoid of being a shadow that I'm going to question your sanity when looking at imagery. Shadow, you say? This doesn't look like a shadow. Anybody else seen a red shadow before?
The Earth is round, it's not...
That's begging the question fallacy.
Sebit doesn't agree, though.
What about the sun and the moon?
Who knows? We haven't
What about them?
been to either. It could be that they're circling Earth.
You didn't need to give you an explanation. They're baiting you, my friend. Yeah? Taunting you into a position where you give up an explanation that they can overcome. Your first answer was perfectly sufficient. You didn't need to go beyond that. I don't know. I've never been there. Good enough answer for me. No, neither have I, mate. I'm with you on that one. But what, now you're going to go on to give you speculation?
On its plane.
How does the sun set, like, below the horizon?
Right?
Sorry, what's the sun? Oh, according to this guy now, it's a massive circling, what, two-dimensional disc over a flat plane? Okay. Sounds like they're just building up that straw man I said that you didn't need to be in. You don't know, and you just don't need to have any explanation beyond your not knowing. You don't know, I don't know, we don't know. We can't measure angles to it to give a height because it recedes towards the horizon. That's matter-of-factly what it does. Now, that's quite useful. If you take elevation angle measurements to it off a flat plane, you can navigate with it. So in terms of practical application, I don't know what the sun is. I know that we can take flat Earth elevation angle measurements to it to navigate with it, though. It's been done for quite some time. Still done to this day. Did you know that? Of course, in order to navigate, that would be save your life at sea when lost, with the sun, you'd need a flat Earth elevation angle measurement to it, and you'll need a flat Earth to plot it on, and you'll need a flat map to do it with. Shockingly, that's why they're all flat.
Some people say it could be all about perspective.
Could be, but you don't know. You don't know what the sun is. So to give a suggestion that it's receding towards the horizon because it's a physical entity moving into the distance? You don't know that. Now, it's a perfectly reasonable speculation, if labelled as such, but you genuinely don't know and don't need to offer this up. Now, what I would offer up, I've just done. Point out a practical application for it. So if they deny it, oh, you don't need a flat Earth to measure two straight lines, one along a baseline, established with the horizon. Useful, that, the horizon, for establishing horizontal. To give you a flat baseline, to measure two straight lines, that would be an angle to the sun. When you do that, you can save your life. Did you know that? Of course, you require Earth to be flat, and it's been done many, many times and saved many, many lives. Feel free to deny the practical application of the sun with respect to its elevation angle measurement off a flat Earth to save your life. What's that? You want to know what I think it is? I don't know. I just know you need a flat Earth to save your life with it if you put it into practical application. What have you got from the sun in practical application on your globe Earth? Oh, absolutely nothing. There is no useful practical application for a 93 million mile away sun over a globe Earth. It doesn't help you in the slightest if you're lost at sea. You'll have to relinquish that religious belief that you've got in order to measure Earth flat and save your own life. Oh, well, maybe you've got a different example that's non-navigational, saving your life type-based example of you with your globe Earth belief about what the sun can offer us. Because you're asking me like I've got some horse in this race. I'm not bloody navigator. I know Earth must be measured flat to use it in that way, though. Like I say, what have you got, globe believer? What do you think the sun's being used for on a globe? Nothing. That's what.
As the sun gets further and further away from where you are, there's a vanishing
You don't know what it is.
point, and at that vanishing point is where we no longer see the sun.
Months and years, the calendar system are a beautiful example of demonstration that the Earth is round. And images.
Sorry, the calendar system. What? No. The calendar's got nothing to do with the shape of Earth. It's just a calendar. Arbitrary. Completely arbitrary. But you're going to suggest that somehow proves we're on a sphere Earth because of the calendar. No. Having good predictive capabilities of the stars might infer that the people who then arbitrarily ascribe days and numbers to the periods of time that we experience, you could suggest that the assertion of flat Earth elevation angles to the stars to give them a predictive capability in an orbital motion by Kepler, you could suggest that proves a sphere. I'd just take you back to the original assertion of flat plane measurements to give Kepler his orbital motions, and then point out the calendar's proving a flat Earth with that.
Images of Earth, it's not just NASA. Recently, the Chandrayaan mission took beautiful.
I suggest that you stick this guy in a completely bare room so that you literally cannot hear a single word he says because of the reverb. That's what I suggest you. Then I suggest you take that crap reverb recording that is unintelligible and stick it over the top of you with road noise in a car. I think that's just the best possible sound solution you could have come up with.
Full images of the Earth. You could see it as a billiard ball hanging in the blackness.
But can you? So you think you can travel out to a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum to see the Earth looking like a billiard ball? No, au contraire. There's no such thing as a sky vacuum, an area of volume that you could travel to look at Earth as a billiard ball. Because if we could travel to that area, 10 to the minus 17 tour, to look back on Earth as a billiard ball, we would be in an area of volume that the little blue marble you think you'd be looking back on, and all its gas surrounding it, would be vacating into based on laws of nature. Second law of thermodynamics quite specifically.
So Nathan,
I'm still a little bit skeptical.
Yes.
He said Earth is just hanging in space like a cue ball. Is that what I'm understanding?
The Yorkshire pudding face man. Yes, that's what he said. I always want people like that to wobble their cheeks for me. And all their chins. Sorry.
But how can he validate that? I was just thinking about it. How can he validate that Earth is just a ball in space?
It's baseless assertion, Neil. It's just stating it. But in his mind, he thinks he's backed by the calendar. Why? Because at the behest of the church, Kepler develops a system of elliptical orbits so that they can figure out when Easter is. And derived from the celestial sphere, over a flat plane, the equatorial plane, all derived from angle measurements off a flat plane to the stars. But he thinks that that proves it's on a globe. So when he says, because of all the stuff I've just baselessly asserted, that in reality proves a flat plane, I can just assert that if you were to look at it conceptually, it would be like a billiard ball hanging in space, with all the gas just clinging to it, not escaping into the area of volume in line with natural law.
Right, but he comes to that assumption because he sees the moon and the sun, and they're supposedly spherical, so Earth is just up there with them, and that's how he validates it? Oh, I see.
Yeah. Or based on what I just told you, which is that he's assuming that Keplerian orbital motion is going to be giving him a calendar. Therefore, if the orbital motion is the thing that's given you your times and dates, then orbital motion is true. But orbital motion is used with a back engineering of angles taken from a flat plane. So it doesn't. He just doesn't know that. Now he does. Or at least Jack Gordon does, if you've let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. There's 90 people watching, edging ever closer to 100. As I've said, call to action earlier when we did this introductory part of the video. Please go and let Jack Gordon know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Explain that we have covered this in a better way than his guest in the car with all the road noise. Yeah, hopefully he would do the same and respond to us and say, no, I do know what the sun is. And actually you can save your life with angle measurements off a globe Earth. You take the bent line and the straight line and that gives you an angle. Maybe he'll respond. If he did, we'd hope he'd put a link to our video like we are doing for him. Sharing in the algorithmic love, not that he needs it compared to us. But my meager audience is on its way to you to let you know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Just let him know we responded. We have covered your video. We have dissected your garbage. That's a long enough call to action to get a few people over there and then back again. We shall see.
But there are some other cameras up there that got some footage for us, so I'm looking forward to checking those out to see what kind of footage we got.
But the balloon just burst, so we have to go get it. Yeah, that's right. So while we were listening to the scientist, the live stream cut out, and...
Sorry, while you were listening to a what? Scientist? No, you weren't ever listening to a scientist. On the contrary. What did he offer you? Calendars? Is that science?
The balloon apparently...
But that's the trick, isn't it? The trick that we get shunned for. When we point out that them saying scientist has now offered credence to a man who begged the question of orbital motion taken from a flat plane as a proof of a globe. Why? 'Cause science! That's the trick. That's the dupe. That's why I've gone to so much effort to tell Jaron and Dave and all the other numpties with an ether belief they claim has also got science. That's why we've been duped. Now, you've got two choices when you find that out. Here's a perfect case in point. He said a man who claims orbital motion is a scientist. No, bloody isn't. He's not establishing cause and effect. He's not got any hypothesis construction. He's not even got a natural phenomena to study. So why is he a scientist? He isn't. But that's enough for the audience to believe that what he said is true. Now, I can take what he said and point out how a flat Earth was required. I'm not a scientist, but if I said I was, would that make you believe me more? It doesn't matter. It's not in requirement of belief. It's a measurement of Earth. Flat.
Popped a little bit later, so now it's falling towards the ground. And we have to go get it, so we can see the footage after the stream cut out at the very top.
Clean up with shark vacuum.
Bear with me.
Yep. How do we know we're not just like baiting and switching? Like, how do we know that it's the same weather balloon that we're going to be?
It wouldn't matter if you understood how these arguments worked. Go ahead, whoever that was.
I just said, who cares? What does it prove?
It proves that he may or may not have seen a horizon used to establish horizontal for the flights that they discussed in this plane journey, a car journey. So whether or not this flat earther sees a curve in the horizon used to establish horizontal is very important, I guess. But it might be faked.
Going to.
Seba was starting to get a bit suspicious. You're only going to buy this if you actually see the camera come out of the air, so you know it's the same camera, right?
Yeah.
Now the problem is, it takes about an hour to get down to the ground.
So what? What's he going to do when he sees the footage that he's just seen in VR anyway? Sorry, do you think that he's suddenly going to see a curve of the Earth in a horizon used to establish horizontal for the flights you've discussed? Seems absurd to me.
out and the camera was 20 miles in the air. That's 20 miles per hour falling down. So it is not going to be easy to actually be there.
Yes.
See, the problem with these, I hope I'm not roboting, but it's the same thing that happened with Dean Odell. What did that guy bring up to him? He brought up to him that Netflix nonsense. So the more videos these stupid flat earthers are making, all it does is harm us. We look like a bunch of morons.
I said yesterday we should be divorcing ourselves from that moronic nonsense. You know, when it comes to the rigged game that is flat Earth, we are detaching ourselves from it because we can't stand by anything that the people around us put forth. Like we stand in opposition to almost everything that flat earthers, in quotes, put down on the table. Where have we agreed with him so far beyond one of his examples where Earth goes around a curve, but he didn't state that they don't do that. He just said, oh, I haven't felt that while I'm a passenger. You're like, oh, God, the standards.
When it lands, let alone actually try and catch it out of the air. We're going to try.
Well, there it is. So look out.
Also, this video wasn't cheap, so while we're looking for the balloon, let me tell you about Air Up, the sponsor of this video.
An Air Up water bottle works by filling it with water and then taking one of these scent pods, this one's watermelon, and sticking it on the top. Literally.
I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you that this video is brought to you by the people of Patreon. Massive shout out to all of you. You get a daily shout out on the Uncut and After show, but I don't get sponsorship. And the only reason this show even exists is because people support me on Patreon. Now, I wouldn't have the lights on if it wasn't for them. So I'm going to support them where he's taken the opportunity to support a sponsor. I also have sponsorship from the people of Patreon. So thank the Lord Jesus Christ for Patreon and all the people who support me monthly, because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. I should do a call to action, really. Please support me on Patreon.
Not see anything. Then, when you push up and go to drink it, so it makes your water reality is really just water.
We haven't even opened cherry yet.
This one gonna be the best one.
Yeah, it's got it.
Well, link in description. The journey was a lot longer than we expected. It's petrified wood. Apparently it's from the dinosaurs' age. This used to be wood. We're literally finding fossils.
No, how'd you know that? Would we get a denying the antecedent argument from him if he'd asked? Maybe.
Fossils out here, but we have to find the balloon.
Yo, be careful. There's like cactus and anything down
It looks like there's a horizon. It looks like it just like drops off. No, for real, like.
Why'd you keep babbling on about the horizon? They have the claim that it's a physical geometric sphere edge based on an Earth sphere radius 3959 miles, with that value being derived from flat Earth measurements, and they're saying the distance to it is a set point, a hill in your way. Well, you can debunk that. Black Swan went through it earlier. If Earth's sphere radius 3959 miles, every distance to horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Distance to horizon in the Black Swan is beyond 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere. The horizon is not Earth curve. It's not a hill getting in the way. Hills that get in the way of stuff don't move.
Imagine what the wall looks like.
Man, you're having me convinced right now. Let's find this footage though. For real.
I mean, honestly, this is kind of...
Why? Who cares? It's been rendered pointless by us. The horizon's not Earth curve.
Kind of convincing me the Earth is flat. Like, look around here. I mean, there's nothing.
Crossing another barbed wire.
This is insane.
I mean, I think I just gotta go, right?
The hike to the balloon is definitely treacherous.
Oh, God, this is tedious.
I think that's a word. Treacherous. Looking back at the maps, you can see how long we walked. It was miles, and this was taking hours. The cows are just staring at us. They don't know.
Imagine, right, that behind this dude's head, you can see that there's a hill, right? We can all see that. It's the demarcation point between sky and land. We could call this a horizon. Okay. Now let's infer, like this hill that's blocking our view of stuff behind it, that Earth had the same dealio, that the horizon, like this horizon, was a hill. And behind this hill, there's a little shop. In fact, just around about here, just beyond his view, they didn't tell you this is shot in the city, there's a McDonald's. It's right here, in this little area. Now imagine that you stood here for 20 years, you had all the provisions you needed, and you could stare at this horizon for 20 years. In what circumstances would you wake up one morning and find that this hill is not blocking the McDonald's that's definitely behind it, but in fact, The McDonald's is now blocking the hill. The hill's behind the McDonald's. Yeah? When, in your estimation, would that ever happen?
On a 14/6 day.
14/6 maybe? It's so loomed up, it's so hologrammatic that you can see the hill also hologrammatic behind it. Right? When's that going to happen? Never. Well, that's what the Black Swan shows. Physical geometric limitation claimed to be at 1 mile, blocking your view. And where's the horizon? Well, beyond 10 miles. So the hill that's supposed to get in your way, Earth curve, the horizon, has got up and physically moved itself 10 miles beyond all the stuff it's supposed to be blocking. Yeah? Absurd? Now, just the debunking of an Earth curve edge horizon. We haven't got an Earth curve edge horizon. And what's that useful for? If you say it's blocking boats and buildings because it's an Earth curve edge, how is that useful? How is that put into practical application beyond showing flat earthers how the horizon's a sphere edge in maths derived from a flat plane? How is it practically applied? Oh, it isn't. There's no actual practical use for this beyond affirming globe earth religion. There's no use for it. What is the horizon used for, though? Oh, establishing horizontal. Yeah, universally renowned for that particular practical application is the horizon. It's kind of got the same ring to it. Horizon, horizontal. Yeah? So that's useful because we can establish a plane of reference to get angles to stars with it. That would be establishing Earth as flat with the horizon. So it's practically useful for saving your life. But what's that you say? It's a hill that gets in the way, even though we can show that the hill's behind the thing it's supposed to be blocking on some days, making it non-physical, not a hill, not Earth curve.
I'm a little late joining, but are they walking to the horizon to get there or something?
Nah, they're walking to find a balloon.
For that, I thought seriously dumb that was.
Why did the balloon go down, Nathan?
Why did the balloon go down?
Yeah.
No way, you're asking me that. What's that got to do with how Earth is measured flat?
Everything goes down.
Just went up. What are you talking about? The helium balloon just went up.
Where did it end up? Where is its final destination?
Yeah.
Down, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
Neil. Because if the balloon's gone up, isn't the Earth rotating underneath? So wherever it lands, it'll be however fast the Earth was rotating underneath away from it, won't it? It'll be a very long way, depending on the latitude.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I'm going to actually do just that now and pull up, if I can find it in my own video selection, a video that Adam's referring to. Let's do that now. Sorry for the slight audio delay if you're listening and not watching. How you get on?
Let's get the first one over with, the Coriolis effect.
Oh, this will be epic.
You want to throw a ball to your friend in the middle of North America. If you throw that ball in a straight line, it'll appear to land to the right of your friend because he's moving slower and is not caught up to you.
According to the King of Random channel, with a claim to be scientist, she has made it explicitly clear that Earth will turn underneath balls. Okay. So according to the globe Earth claim based on science, now just put this disclaimer in, she's not a flipping scientist. Yeah. But she says she is. Like your man on this video said he was. So according to a scientist who's detailed Coriolis, Earth turns underneath balls. Okay. Did Earth turn underneath this balloon? Pray tell? Answer, no, it didn't. No. It might have caught a bit of wind, but Earth wasn't rotating underneath it because it would have vanished into a different part of the world given the amount of time it was in the air. There'd be a substantial amount of Earth turning underneath it. That didn't happen.
That we're about
nice way to divert my question. I said, why did it go down? We're not talking about the rotation. of the Earth, it came down.
Why are you
Things
asking
go
me?
down.
Why are you asking?
You
didn't hear my question. Why are you asking me about why stuff goes? I don't care. Why are you asking?
It down, right?
We got
That's
that.
what we're told.
We got that. We got that. But why are you asking me? Do I have a claim about this somehow, Neil?
I'll tell you, Neil. Because the balloon burst.
You need to. Okay, so it goes sideways. Why didn't it go the other way?
Now, Neil, you're causing audio chaos because you're roboting. Okay, yeah, you're asking me why the balloon came down, and Adam said because the balloon burst. Okay, well, why are the birds flying? There was a number of birds in the sky that day, Neil. Why were they flying? Why were they at different altitudes? Who cares? Why are you asking? Keep asking you. Alrighty then. Moving on. Okay, if anybody didn't pick up what I was trying to put
on you, sir.
Go ahead, Neil. Bloody hellfire.
I said I don't want a robot anymore, so I'm not.
Thank you for letting us know, Neil. That's really helpful. Meanwhile, Neil's asking me to explain why stuff goes down. Number one, not all stuff goes down. So that's a stupid question in the first instance. Not all stuff goes down, so to ask me why all stuff's going down is stupid. It doesn't. I could ask you why the gas that escaped from the burst balloon didn't fall down with it. Did it expand in all directions in the vector that it was travelling in at the point that it burst out of the balloon? Did it just expand in all directions like gas does? Yeah, it did. It didn't fall down, go boom, boom like the balloon, did it, Neil? So what are you talking about? Aspects of that balloon went down. Parts of it went down. But the gas didn't. That's stuff also, and it didn't go down. Some of it might have gone down, as in it escaped the balloon in a downward vector. It happened to be travelling in that direction when the balloon burst, and it continued until it bounced into another gas particle, or heaven forbid it had a completely unimpeded view of the ground, which it wouldn't have. It would have made its way to the ground and bounced off it and gone up. But that's 1 in 1 bazillion particles of gas inside that balloon, most of which just expanded in whatever direction they were travelling in at the point they escaped the balloon. All vectors, not down. Or not just down. We done? Clearly we are.
Curvature. Oh, that's wild. But maybe I didn't mind. Hanging out with Sebit was fun. He's a nice guy.
It's all still intact. Alrighty.
So this is definitely the camera we started with, right? We may not have seen it come down.
What is this? Some sort of magic trick? Is this definitely your hand? You haven't seen me slip any cards into the deck? It's definitely your camera, right? What the hell? Horizon's not Earth, Kev. It doesn't matter what's on this footage.
But this is it, and there's no way that anyone would have planted it this far out in a field. It took like an hour and a half.
Got nothing up my sleeves. The magic trick isn't the camera. The magic trick has already been done. The magic trick is convincing the world that the horizon is Earth curve. So then all you got to do is go out and get some footage of the horizon, right? As long as we all assume it's Earth curve, it isn't.
Have to get to. We're gonna trust this footage, right?
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to checking out.
Trust what? Trust that it's footage of horizons? Yeah, I'll trust that too. Okay, I trust it too. Yeah, implicit. I haven't even seen it yet. Even if you have bait and switched it with other footage, I don't care. Because nothing you're going to show me in it is going to prove that the Earth's a sphere, or that the horizon is used practically for anything other than establishing a horizontal baseline to save your life when navigating, for instance, or developing all the maps, or maybe developing the dome of the heavens as a perspective view over a flat plane, known as the equatorial plane, used by people like Kepler to infer orbital motion around a sphere. Or very, very useful, the flat plane and the horizon that you can use to establish it. Of course, that would mean that Earth is flat. And me, as an absolute staunch understander of that fact, would never declare that that's a belief, because it isn't. You, as a globe believer, will also practically apply that flat plane measurement that we all must use.
The footage,
yeah,
sure.
we'll see what it looks like.
It's a lot of Earth.
It's a lot of Earth.
Horizon. Fascinating.
skip about as high up as it seems like it'll go. Oh, that's landing.
Like, that seems fairly flat, right? Like,
sorry, why is that a value? It seems kind of flat. What does? What, the ground below not falling away from you? Yeah, okay. Well, that doesn't really help you. I mean, if you can show something that's being practically measured on the ground and have something like, I don't know, some consequence of if it wasn't flat, like dying at sea, like maps using the angle measurements to the stars or sun, how those maps with circles drawn on them, areas of equal elevation. What's that? Area of equal elevation, giant circle with respect to a star you've measured the angle off a flat plane to? Yeah, that's what they use when they navigate. People's lives have been saved by practical application, by utilization of the horizon to establish the world as flat. What's that you say? Looks kind of flat. Standards, my friend, standards.
I think
a ruler. I mean, I see a little bit of curvature.
a little bit of a curve. It would be cool to.
Oh, whoa. I wonder if that's got anything to do with how your lens works. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating. Meanwhile, the horizon's not Earth curve, because if it was, every distance to it could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and it wouldn't physically move on a given day. Hills don't tend to do that.
See, kind of like if we were to like go pixel to pixel, seeing if there is a straight line. Look at that. Look.
Straight out of 2015, it's absolutely pathetic. This is what we're dealing with in 2023 going on 2024.
Look at that. Look at that. What do you see?
I see a curve personally.
You see?
Well, that's it then. We're done here. The horizon's not an Earth curve, though. So if it was curving, how would you establish a horizontal plane of reference with it? Oh, you wouldn't, would you?
Curve.
So how are you going to put this into practical application? Okay, great. Well, I can use the imagery from a bent lens and a bent camera and then claim that the pixels are bending. Okay? And that's going to be useful for what? Other than making money on YouTube by lying to globe believers, how is this useful or practically applied to anything ever?
I'm happy for them to make this unsubstantiated claim that the horizon is Earth curve. And if they want to stand on that hill and die, good luck to them. You can be on the top of that hill, and I'm sending a militarized black swan up to greet them.
Yeah.
Make them categorically stand by the statement that this proves that the horizon is Earth curve. And the second they categorically make that statement, you black swan them and they're done.
Yeah. We've been doing it for 4 years.
But that's it, isn't it? We don't need to address what's going up, what's going down. No. We just need them to clarify that they are making the claim the horizon is Earth curve.
But they're cowards. They'd rather make the flat earther do it for them, so they can ridicule him.
Being honest, thinking about the sun and the moon's orbit is kind of the toughest things to think about. Vanishing points and points of view and perspective. It does look like it's pretty high above, and that perspective doesn't look like if it were to just go in a straight line, that it could just disappear. Really awesome experience, and super down to go ahead and take that into consideration and everything.
Take what into consideration? The begging the question assumption that the horizon's Earth curve debunked in 2020? I mean, you could take that into consideration. Much more wise would be to establish how the horizon's utilized practically. And what's it practically applied to? Oh yeah, establishing Earth as a horizontal plane of reference. So you can take angles to stars and make areas of equal elevation to save your life at sea if you're lost. It's really useful, that. Of course, Earth has to be flat to do that. Can't be a globe, it wouldn't work.
For sure.
Of course.
Pleasure doing business with you. But Sebit wasn't the only flat earther we showed this footage to. We got emails back from tons of flat earthers that watched it and tried to debunk it.
Some may think you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, of course.
Look at the name.
Pleasure doing business with you. But Sebit wasn't the only flat earther we showed this footage to. We got emails back from tons of flat earthers that watched it and tried.
Is it just C, or is the camera all messed up? That's the standard, is it, Death? Wow. So when we say we don't align with these numpties in Flat Earth who utilize the same tricks we've all been duped onto a sphere with, that is to say, utilize some science to claim it, this is the standard offered up from Death. I see. As opposed to, a horizon is used practically to establish the Earth as a horizontal plane of reference. It's all about the camera and how messed up it is. Wonderful argument.
You got one question. Oh, yeah. So you are saying that the horizon is the leading edge of a ball? Thank you.
To debunk it.
Yeah, that's it. Simple. Been doing it for 4 years.
Some may think you see curvature, but I can assure you that
Dearth, Jaren also did it with Brenda. Cut her down like in an instant with that argument. Yeah?
you don't.
They all had different opinions. As for Sebit, though, we went to Chipotle, and then we drove to the airport.
Bro, it was a lot of fun. Thank you. For sure, of course, no problem at all.
All right, see ya.
Wow.
And gave him $1,000 for being in the video. And then
that's generous of him. I think that'll be my fee next time someone asks me for something.
And we boarded our planes. And the front of the plane didn't have to point down.
The force of gravity always...
Sorry, the front of the plane didn't have to point downwards. Adam, take it from there.
Yeah. So what's he saying is, because I'm on a ball, planes won't have to dip down. Planes don't dip down, therefore I'm on a ball, even though that is fully contrary to how straight and level flight works, how planes work. And he's recognizing that that's an issue, because he knows if he's got to traverse a surface that's falling away from him, he does have to nose down to mitigate for both altitude and orientation, because whilst he's maintaining a straight line vector ascertained by the gyroscope in the plane to make sure it doesn't fall out of the sky, with an artificial horizon being horizontal, the ground underneath him is reorientating itself because apparently it's a ball. So he would have to nose down, or his plane would fall out the sky if he was flying a straight line vector as dictated by his artificial horizon in the cockpit. It's a
points
hell,
down
isn't it,
for
that one?
Well, it just amazes me that you can declare and affirm the consequent with a declaration that goes against what a sphere would necessitate. Because we're not flying around the curve of the Earth and we stay straight and level, that means Earth's a sphere, Earth's surface, and we're traversing it. You're like, are you nuts? That's your standard. That's what you think is proof. Because we're not reorientating the plane with respect to the curve. Now he's going to show a plane doing just that. You watch.
The center of the Earth.
There you go. So that plane's not staying straight and level. It's reorientating with respect to a curved surface, isn't it? It's in his own video.
And therefore, you're not going to need to go up or down or up to follow the curvature. You're not going to feel anything different.
Well, you're not going to feel anything different? So that sounds like mitigation for why you're not doing that. So the scientist says, you wouldn't know this. Yeah, the plane would have to be reorientated if you've flown halfway around a sphere. You're going to have to be 90 degrees to your original position. You're not, though, because the plane never dips its nose with respect to the horizon ever in straight and level flight. Straight and level flight should give the name away. Oh, I mean, what the hell? That's it. Okay. So, as always, let Jack Gordon know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Please leave him a nice, polite comment so it doesn't get immediately removed. Let him know that we are assisting him in the algorithmic love that we fail to receive from YouTube when you leave him your comment. And hopefully he'd do the same for us. And leave us a link to our video when he clearly goes through how obviously flawed his arguments are and how clearly requirements for a flat Earth must be taken into consideration when describing orbits from his scientist. What was that? You thought the scientist proved Earth was a sphere, did you? Just had to put a man in a white coat with a Yorkshire pudding face on the screen, and suddenly that's proving the begging the question fallacies he makes? No, Jack. On the contrary. He obviously doesn't realise that the assumptions of orbital motions will be derived from a flat plane measurement in the first instance, or he wouldn't be leaning on it as a globe proof now, would he? But he did, and we're here to point out how that needs a flat Earth. Hope you're grateful. Please leave a link to our video when you do a response. Chance to be a fine thing. What shall I call it? Jack Gordon versus FE? Yes, Nathan, what a great title.
Oh, It's a little underwhelming. I'm just trying to think of something. But...
Well, I've done it now. That's what it's being called until someone comes up with a better title in the comment section. Please feel free to give us a title if you think Jack Gordon versus Effie isn't a great title. It's what I came up with during a live stream. But with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Good choice, Paul.
What year was that? This year, that video, or?
I'll have a look.
Have a look. I've not got it.
3 months ago.
3 months. Yeah. Wow. The real flat earth arguments, they're just not out there, are they? How long's the Black Swan been out for somebody still to be pimping this?
I don't know what to say, Adam. I really don't. What do we have to do?
We have to be heard, mate, is the trouble, isn't it? Because clearly, even his mate, the fellow flat earther that's gone along with this, he's not heard of the Black Swan when his mates pull up this and go, oh, look, let's draw some lines on a picture. And that will show that the horizon is Earth curve. He's not heard the rebuttal. He's going, oh, yeah, I have to admit, I can see a slight bit of bend. That's what that flat earther's rebuttal is in nearly 2024.
How old is the video?
3 months.
3 months.
Oh my goodness. This is sad.
Mm.
What can we do? I've approached Dearth. He appeared in the video under the comment section. Cited as other flat earthers responded to this. Here's a name you'll know, Dearth. And he's not using the argument. So what can you do? We've approached him. What he's done is shut us down. Shot me down specifically. When I've tried to go through the scientific method argument with me, he wasn't interested. We know why. He's got a whole con going on with Ether and all of his compadres around him.
But still, why would you not use it? Why would you respond with it's flat and stationary or your camera's broke? Something that all those anti-flat earthers will just laugh at or use to justify maintenance of their position. Because it's a very substandard answer. It's just a hand-wave dismissal at best, isn't it? A reaffirmation of your belief. Where it's flat and stationary.
You've got to keep the mystique going. You've got to keep the conspiracy going if you're Dearth. You've got to keep selling apps. If people just come to the conclusion it's flat and then get on with their day, they're not going to be interested, are they? Don't need it to be concluded if you're only out to keep people's fantasy alive. The conspiratard version of flat Earth needs to be kept alive by people like that. We ruin that.
Yep. So I was going to tell Neil, you just said that's sad. I'll tell you something even sadder. We have flat earthers who are still putting arguments like 99% of all the communication happens through undersea cables. That's proof of flat Earth.
How?
I did not even dare to ask that question. I am taking your advice and turning my back on them.
I see. You're saying, based on a feast and nonsense regurgitation about orbital motion and satellites, so in the red corner, orbital motion and satellite communication for internet and telephone. In the blue corner, cables underneath the sea, proving nothing. Fight!
All it does prove, and you have to assume the statistics are true, but it proves nothing as to the nature of Earth. It just shows you what is the most economical telecommunications method. And you can use logic to question why you would spend that much money for 2% of the data transmission. You wouldn't. So it raises that question, but it only raises that point. It certainly doesn't in any way, for me, can be used as a flat Earth proof. It's another proof that we're being mugged off and lied to at best. And proof's probably a strong term there. It's preponderance, isn't it? It's a strange, anomalous statistic that doesn't seem to make sense if true.
That's exactly what I thought, Adam. You spoke my mind.
Yeah, flat earthers are here to keep conspiracies about telecommunications alive rather than proving our Earth's measured flat. Because a conspiracy about how the lies of orbital satellites and telecommunication shows how you put it, we've been mugged off. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we have. But that's not what I am if I'm going to call myself a flat earther, is it? Am I here to prove that we're being mugged off by the government? There's plenty of other idiots out in different arenas that can show that by different means. I don't need to. Just show it's flat. Show it's measured flat. Debunk their claim of Earth curve. That's all you got to do. Yeah, we're on a hiding to nothing with these flat earthers. They might as well be the enemy. What's the point? They want to keep the conspiratard bit of it alive, and only that bit.
Yeah, well, currently they're setting up straw men for anti-flat earthers and just normies to easily knock down.
That's not their fault. That's come from the Feast of Nonsense. They entered into a rigged game without knowing it. Now, we've tried to point out how the game's rigged and they don't care or want to hear it. Okay, that's fine. But I don't want to play in the rigged game anymore.
Well, then we have to start reaching people in a broader area. Somehow, people got to hear the flat earth debate.
Yeah, but Nathan, we have addressed this before, that the globe is the conspiracy. Flat Earth is just what we come to know about. We know that the Earth is flat, and then we realize that actually the whole globe model, heliocentrism, is the actual conspiracy. So you give me that vibe, the way you present yourself in your shows, that's just another thing that you came to find out about, that yeah, one fine night you just, the penny dropped that the earth is flat, and then it's fine. But actually it does lead to many questions like, oh my god, such a fundamental information I've been told all my life was actually a lie. Let's find out what else is a lie. So that leads to gobbling up from the feast of nonsense. But isn't it quite natural to have that feeling?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I would assume so. That's why it's been massaged into that format, so that people's natural instinct to inquire about certain aspects will be fulfilled before anything else. Certainly before finding out it's measured flat. Taken us 7 or 8 years to get to that point. Just wading through treacle with the Feast of Nonsense being regurgitated left and right. So maybe I would assume that people who have figured out how to keep people well and truly under control, how to control an opposition to the globe Earth rhetoric in this instance, have figured out what information is best served to do exactly that, to keep that information flowing from the flat earthers. So far, so good. The flat earthers are doing a wonderful job for the Feast of Nonsense.
You mean the flat earth believers are doing a wonderful job, not us.
Yeah, spot on. The flat earth believers are doing a wonderful job keeping out plenty of false dichotomy arguments for the globers and normies to get their teeth into. And disregard anything to do with flat earth being measured flat because they haven't even heard it. No way Dave's going to tell them that the horizon in your imagery is folly. It's not Earth curve. No, he's going to he's going to prop up that bullshit argument and false dichotomy by questioning whether or not the cameras captured the horizon as Earth curve correctly. It's not Earth curve that's in those images. If that was stated, that would be a conclusive end to the argument. Stating there could be something wrong with the camera is the line that the videographer took. Oh, you'll only accept that it's Earth curve horizon if I show you that it's definitely come out of the box that fell to the ground. Then you'll accept Earth as a sphere. Because look, I've drawn some lines on the imagery from a curved lens. Let's focus on the curved lens. No, let's focus on the horizon. It's not practically applied or useful when you say it's curving. In fact, it contravenes what it's useful for when you state that. And what it's useful for is saving lives. So given that it saves lives when establishing Earth as flat, and you say that I can see it's curving, how are you going to tell me that that's useful for something when the flat part of it is saving lives? You're not.
Maybe, I hope I'm not roboting, maybe you got to pay some extra money and they'll give more information.
Yes, you are roboting.
Well, that sucks.
It does. We get a first couple of words. Try and keep it to one sentence at a time.
Pay extra money.
Indeed, smash the super chat.
There's
I mean them. You pay them extra.
Go on, Adam.
You just.
Or I'll go.
Well, just one little comment. In terms of what Nathan's disappointed, I'm not disappointed. In fact, I'd be exceptionally surprised if I was to hear you'll need a flat Earth, you'll need a flat Earth elevation angle for that. At this point, I think that'll be a little bit brilliant if we were hearing that argument so soon. But as I said earlier, we don't need that argument for this. What we need is a 4-year-old black swan. And that's what's disappointing to me. That, like I said, that's why I asked how old the video is. Only 3 months ago, we've got flat earthers out there that aren't even aware of this weapon to pick it up and just destroy these guys. As polite as they were, and it was very amicable by the looks of it, but you could have just as amicably shown in the black swan and destroyed all the false premise that these guys are working on. That's what's disappointing. After 4 years of the black swan, nearly, that argument isn't out there as much as I see it on Twitter, to be honest. I see John's pictures used by lots of people on Twitter, but as far as YouTube, there's nothing, is there? There's no rebuttals using it other than us. And I mean us, because as we've mentioned before, for some reason, some people are allergic to it.
I mean, I'm trying to break it down in as many different ways as I possibly can. I was waiting for a good clip of the horizon in that video so I could use that as the example of the hill. I don't know if that's good. It's something new that I've not done before, but how many more different ways can we break down the black swan?
It's not how many people aren't aware of it. And like I said, that's the disappointing one. Not knowing that's a flat Earth elevation angle, that's not a disappointment yet. You wouldn't expect that to be out there, but you really would expect the black swan to be known by anyone investigating flat Earth, because it's a fundamental principle of what the ballers are throwing at you. Rising is Earth curve.
Very few know. At least here in India, I can speak for flat earthers from my country. Very few actually understand or even know about the black swan argument or celestial navigation and elevation angles being proof of flat Earth, or similar points which get discussed here. Anyways, I was saying, have you heard this news making rounds about AI proving or coming to the conclusion that moon landing photos are fake? You know, it detected those crosshairs and everything. I don't know if this news has made it mainstream or not, but this particular news will get these flat earth believers really excited. And I've seen it. But for me, and I suppose for every one of us, it's no big deal because that was never our basis for rejecting the moon landings. Our basis is so different and so far apart from the average run of the mill flat earther who has gobbled up from the feast of nonsense. Right? It's because it does not exist. We are talking about Narnia.
They're different things, though, aren't they? And part of your journey, in certainly mine, before flat Earth, one of the first things you laugh at is the moon landings. But again, all of this is why do so many people believe it? Because the government says it's true still. So if you can get to a point, I suppose, where public opinion is swayed by AI saying it, and you can get to that point of admission, I'm not so fussed about whether it's a flat earth proof or not and whether we'd use it, but it does open the doors to the realization that you are being lied to. Lots of us know that. We make that as a statement, but there are lots of people that deny they're being lied to. So if that could become, it doesn't matter what AI says it has to be admitted by the American government, doesn't it, fundamentally? But when that does happen, that I think is a positive thing for everybody.
You think they'll ever admit it?
I think it's going to come to the point where they will have to. It's so bad now, yeah, that there's going to have to be a disclosure. It'll probably be based on, yeah, well, it was all about national pride. We had to fake it because we couldn't do it back then. As you can see, we're still struggling a bit now because of those Van Allen belts, la-da-da-da-da. So we had to do it as part of the Cold War. It was part of those operations. That'll be the mitigation, I would have thought.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure they'll give an excuse. And everyone will...
You see what I mean?
Yeah, they'll give an excuse and everyone will swallow it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But that excuse won't mean the admittance that, no, you can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. It'll mean, no, we had to fake it because of national pride or because of X, Y, Z, whatever. It was imperative that we won that race. But it will still maintain the paradigm of space, won't it?
Yeah.
Do admit it. Right?
One more time, Neil.
They do admit it in movies. They admit it.
No, but it's going to need presidential disclosure, isn't it? No, we didn't go. Said by NASA, said by, you know what I mean? And if that did happen...
To do that. Well, they're never going to do it.
I think they might just leave it to fade out in the mind's eye of people. As the technology in videography has improved, it's become worse and worse. It's aged worse and worse. But maybe they don't have to make any disclosure. Just people will just accept that it's complete garbage filmed on a stage. But they don't have to say anything. People will just accept that that didn't really happen.
Yeah, but that's all. That event didn't happen. Not the rest of it's impossible. Just that didn't happen, really.
Also, they'll still be selling the dream.
Yeah, nobody's got enough discernment based on a standard education that most Western world people receive to then draw the logical inference. Well, if you're saying you faked this trip, then what's to say you're not faking the trips to Mars? Now, maybe that will work just as advantageously to them to have people denying it in a sky vacuum, like it did with the moon landing. As long as everyone's arguing about whether or not rockets can push off a sky vacuum, rather than how natural law would debunk the area that the journeys travel through, well, then that's advantageous to them, as long as everyone still assumes space is real.
The thing is, Arthur, how many Indians believe that you guys have been to space with footage which, frankly, is worse? In fact, there is no footage. They don't even try and give you footage. It's just, here's a simulation. Here's Prime Minister Modi watching the simulation. Look at the smile on his face. It must be real. We're being fed stuff that's equally as weak as any actual evidence today, and people are lapping it up still.
Because it's fantastical, Adam.
There's like 10-second videos and 20-second videos which the rover which was put on the surface of the moon, it captured, and it was basically the rover capturing the lander landing on the moon surface. So there were 10-15-second clips which were also presented, but once again, at least you guys tried to show people playing golf. But 50 years after that, we could only show robots.
What are you wanting? Kabaddi on the moon?
Come again, please.
What did you want? Kabaddi on the moon?
Kabaddi, oh.
What? Running across the lunar landscape. I love it.
Kabaddi.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a.
There was a point in the late 90s that they decided to bring Kabaddi live on Channel 4 for a bit, Arthur. It was quality.
Today there's Kabaddi Premier League.
Can you keep the... I've been called away to do something. Can you keep the conversation going 5 minutes?
If it's about Kabaddi, probably, yeah.
Let's hope so.
Probably for the audience, we should explain. I don't know if as far as I know, how would I describe it? It's professional dobby, isn't it? It's like tag.
Now you'll have to explain what that means.
We have to like tag each other and run off, don't you? It's like we used to play.
Yeah. So there are like 5 to 6 people on each side. There's just a line drawn in the middle of the court. And you go to the other side, try to tag as many of the opponents as possible and run to the other side of the line. That's basically it.
Quality game. But you got nothing. The point was we've only got CGI, and that's. So I'm saying, do they need to admit out? Because people are so happy to believe they'll just absorb this crap that's put out there now, won't they? So if they're happy to accept that, is there any desire to reject stuff that's, like I said, realistically, you can at least with the moon landing stuff go, yeah, it was so long ago. Look, it's a grainy picture. It's a little bit of rope. You know what I mean? You can almost mitigate for it. But the modern stuff, as Elon says, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
No, you mitigate it by making excuses. So the key feature of the Indian missions has always been how bloody cheap they are, right? Our Prime Minister Modi says on national TV that we actually went to Mars less than the budget of a Hollywood movie which was showing space, the movie Gravity. So the budget of our actual Mars mission was lower than the budget of the movie Gravity. And this is what our Prime Minister is boasting about. So they also have excuses for why the picture qualities and even the cameras that they fit today are of so low a standard, and the pictures which are sent are not of very good quality. They have various different excuses for that they are saving on data. Since they want the image to be sent quickly, hence the file has to be smaller. That's one of the reasons. And then in order to reduce the weight of the rover, lander. So these kind of excuses are the mitigation. All that is done in the name of mitigation.
I only use Sri Lankan pilots because they'll be smaller. Terrible pricing. That's a worry.
Sri Lanka is a different country. I hope you know that, right?
What?
Sri Lanka is a different country.
Yeah, but they're little, aren't they? What was the point?
They're similar to the people in the southern part of India.
Like southern Indians then?
Yep.
On Payland. Is that
ISRO headquarters
economically?
ISRO headquarters, Indian Space Research Organization headquarters, and many of their research centers and their previous few chairmen, all of them have been from the southern part of the country. You know, they are the Dravidians. They are darker toned. The northern India and Punjabis.
Yeah.
Punjabis are fairer toned. So that's North India, and southern India, comparatively, relatively, they are more brown.
So less than the budget of Gravity. I like it. It was a cheaper film. It's bound to cost less to make.
They made a film about it, and when you watch it on TV, the movie, the Indian movie, which shows which is about the Mars mission, shows better graphics than the actual Mars mission, and they are quite similar.
Odd. You have to send us a link. I've not seen that, but I've only seen the dubious fluorescent yellow rocket.
No, it's about the Mars mission. It happened like a number of years ago, 5-6 years ago. The one that they showed right now is the moon mission, Chandrayaan. And the Mars one is Mangalyaan.
So I've only ever seen CGI. So you're saying there is something that's not CGI? Or it is obvious CGI on Mars? Or have they gone to Greenland and filmed like NASA?
No. This Mars mission movie and actual Mars footages I'm talking about only the launching part. They haven't shown anything after reaching. Yeah. Just images of Mars. Nothing more than that. Which are also quite crappy.
We're getting something good. Fair enough. All right, Eli.
Hey, what's up? I got my mic on.
Not a lot. Nathan's disappeared. We're filling. Poorly.
What's the 411?
411. Don't know what 411 means.
It's the number for information.
Today, were you seeing the show today?
Well, I just got back.
What's the vid? 3 months old. And we got a flat earther with his friends, acquaintances, being demonstrated that the horizon is curved, therefore Earth's a ball. And he had to concede that there was some curvature on the picture that they took from the balloon. We were just saying how disappointing it is. This was only 3 months old, the video. The guy is unaware of the Black Swan argument. It's nearly 4 years old. 4 years old in 2 weeks? Is it 4?
Sad state we find ourselves in.
Yeah. If we stay quiet any longer, Nathan will end the show.
Arthur! Where's Arthur?
Yep, Neil.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Please go ahead.
When I first started dating my wife, this was back in 98, the main actor and actress in Bollywood was Salman Khan, and I forgot who the female was. Who are they now?
It's still Salman Khan.
Nobody dances like Salman Khan.
But actually, in 1998, there were there were three Khans, and they have been ruling Bollywood since the 90s. So they were young in the 90s. They are in their 50s now, almost reaching 60, but they are the ones who kill the box office even today. I do not even watch movies anymore, but their movies are particularly aimed towards the masses, masala pictures, full of song and dance and fighting and everything.
I always thought Salman Khan would cross over because
I'm sure you must have heard of Shah Rukh Khan.
Yes.
So in 1998, Shah Rukh Khan would be at par with Salman Khan. So these two Khans were fighting along with Amir Khan, who makes sensible movies and good movies relatively here in India.
Yeah, my wife's family, none of them speak a word of anything but, English, Guyanese English, I guess. But they would watch those movies and understand what was going on. I don't get it.
Yeah, they were pretty dumb movies.
I liked them. Come on, man. The dancing and all of that stuff is great, bro. Happy, happy, happy. Everybody's happy.
The taste has changed, although. So it's no longer the similar kind of movies reigning, but the choice of Indians has become more westernized. And the current movie, which I watched after like many months, I do not usually watch movies, but it's the one which kind of tries to copy the Quentin Tarantino style. And there was a time when I was in college and I used to watch movies, both Hollywood as well as Bollywood. So at that time, Quentin Tarantino movies like Reservoir Dogs and what else? Django Unchained, and also Mel Gibson movies like Apocalypto and The Passion of Christ and Braveheart about Scotland, or I'm not really sure. So wearing skirts and everything. So a similar movie was made in which there is a lot of violence, and that is how the taste of Indians is changing. That movie is ruling the charts, and it has a lot of overt toxic masculinity and misogyny.
I was like, I might like it. I watched the film the other day, and it's kind of like, it reminds me a bit of a modern They Live. It's kind of commenting on hidden sites. They cloned Tyrone. Has anyone seen it? Jamie Foxx and the crap guy out of Star Wars. No,
I thought you were talking about a Bollywood movie. No,
what's gone on? I just watched the film the other day, and it's proper wicked. They cloned Tyrone. It's like, it's very conspiracy related, but it's all black conspiracy. So
I see
you roboting now. Try again. I'll carry on. Anyway, it reminded me very much when Eli was talking about some of the experiments that went on, some of the stuff, and he kind of plays on all of that, but he's well funny as well. But it covers a lot of conspiracy stuff in terms of how they're trying to control society. Quite a good film. I'd recommend it.
they cloned Tyrone, right?
Yeah, Netflix. It's on now. But
I seen it.
You seen it?
Absolutely. About almost during the summer, I seen it.
There you go. It was you get Bollywood stuff on Netflix now and all. I watched a decent one. What was it? RRR. That was it.
That's a movie which was made in the southern part of India. Or that's a different industry. It's not the Hindi film industry. It's the South India or the Tamil or Telugu, other language film industry. But now all of this has kind of collaborated. The directors from southern part make movies in the Hindi belt and the other way, vice versa. So yes, RRR was another blockbuster which shows people who have superhuman qualities, but they are not actually superhumans. They fight with huge tigers and can lift bikes with one hand and all that stuff.
Bit racist to the British, but other than that, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, that sells a lot here, and you can completely understand, I suppose.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I'm home.
Film.
How's my sound now?
Yeah, wicked.
Sounds fine.
All right. Great. I'm home. So I get internet again. They cloned Tyrone was great. It was white man control. What a weird flick that was.
Really good film. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was new.
Covers what's going on, though, right?
Yeah.
Did I miss any fundies in the Discord server?
Not heard anyone from Discord. Not a word.
Okay.
What movie?
They cloned Tyrone.
That's a movie?
Very fun.
An outstanding movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Arthur.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
They cloned Tyrone.
No. Hey, Arthur.
Then what? Huh?
Hey, Arthur.
I think you already have his attention, Eli.
Or is that the film?
I'm asking him, has he seen it?
Hey, Arthur, a movie? No, I haven't.
Just making a small jokey joke. Because there's a show.
You mean the
called
one with
Hey
the
Arthur.
clown, Eli?
No, Hey Arthur is a show from Nickelodeon.
I thought it was mean It. Have you seen It?
I seen it with the clown, but it's really a cosmic spider.
Yeah, Book of Eli is also a movie.
That's a good film.
That was good too. He's blind, right? Basically.
What?
Yeah, yep.
There's also a really stupid movie called Paul about an atheist alien. Goody.
Okie dokie.
Excuse us if we've ruined the plot for you for the Book of Eli if you haven't seen it, but it is a good movie.
Sorry, I realized that when I said it.
Because that's what all this show's all about, really, isn't it? Whether or not we're producing movie spoilers. Very important.
The point of the movie I was making was that film I was talking about is very similar. It's Feast of Nonsense. It's full of conspiracy. I've not seen anything like it, really, that kind of resonates a little bit with current conspiracies since they live. That's why I brought it up. It wasn't just random.
No, fair enough. Okay.
Was it? Have you seen it now? I recommend watching it. Eli, have you seen it? Because that's why I brought it up, because half the stuff you talked about, it's kind of very sort of...
I don't think so.
Yeah, watch
Eli,
it.
you haven't seen They Clone Tyrone yet?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Nah.
Oh, you got to see it. Right up your alley, Eli.
What streaming service is it on?
Netflix.
Oh, okay. I'll
Right
probably
up
watch it
your
today.
alley.
Is it about clones?
No. Nothing about clones, basically. Just watch it tonight, because I want to hear your feedback tomorrow.
It's about societal control of black people. Black culture, black identity, what they do, why they're doing it, etc. Who's doing it?
You're black, aren't you, Eli?
Well, I thought you'd like it as well, Nath.
I was surprised. Kiefer Sutherland was in that, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Good movie, man.
Jamie Foxx is wicked. And
he's black.
Jamie Foxx has been doing some good work lately.
Oh, he's fucking brilliant and dresses so. He's a pimp in it, but his clothes are serious. I'm like, I want half of them. Seriously dresses sharp in it.
Yeah, my favorite though is the prostitute, man.
She's class. Well, she's the hero, isn't she? She's the hero.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
I gotta admit, when I first started watching, like I told my brother, I said, "What the hell are we watching?" But then I started getting into it. No okie dokie, rounding out the show. Huey, where are you?
No, I think he's trying to hint at changing the topic back to something which actually matters, away from movies.
You know, we were talking about...
Does anybody care to try to help me write this email out?
Let's hear what you got.
Because all I have is...
We'll do it now. Let's hear what you got.
All I have is Pastor Dean Odell. My name is Neil Cosentino. I moved to Alabama last Christmas, and I live local.
Stop.
I would like to attend your church, and I'm also a flat earther. I recently heard your debate. That's all I got.
Okay. Any letter to anybody that you're appealing to, every time you write the word I, you lose the interest of the person who's reading it. What's the most important thing to you in your life, Neil? Is it Neil? I'm pretty sure it's going to be Neil, isn't it?
Of course. No, my family.
So if someone was writing to you, would you prefer to hear, "Hi, my name is Nathan Oakley, I'm a father of two," or would you like to hear, "Hello, Neil Constantino. I hear you've got a lovely, beautiful family. I hope they are all well." Which sounds better to you, Neil?
The second one.
That's where you got to go. Every time you see I in your letter, try and rephrase whatever you've written to you, and then change it to talking about him. That's how you get people on your side. Talk about them when you write to them.
Okay, so give me an intro.
I hope you are well.
Hello,
I don't want to
Dean
write it.
Odell.
I don't want to write it for you, but I can tell you how to write to get his attention. And the way you write is to tell him what you have to offer him. But that's going to be geared around him and how it benefits him, as opposed to you and your attendance of, admittedly, his church. But that's kind of what he does. It's like someone saying, "I want to come on your show." When people send me those messages, it really ticks me off. "I want to come on your show to talk about this." It's an open door. Just walk in.
Nathan, I was thinking about this because it is uncommon to have, to be involved in a church that is flat Earth related. So I have nowhere basically to attend. I was going to appeal to him in that way.
Well, that benefits
Being
you.
a flat earther,
So,
I have
I get
nowhere
that.
to really attend church.
Yeah, I get that. Your angle was appeal to the fact that you are also a flat earther like him. That's still very you-centric.
Hmm.
I admire you and your flat earth church.
Oh, yeah.
That's different.
Yes.
And you don't know how to schmooze, do you?
It's been a while since I'm better person face to face. I would do a lot better. And my writing is terrible. I can't even read my own freaking writing. Anyway, I'll get it. But before I send it off, I'll do a reading here. But I like that appeal to him and his church and how he's running it. But it takes a lot of guts, though. I'll tell you that much right now. As bad as he was in that debate, or assuming he was bad, I don't know. Some parts he was horrible. But it takes a lot of guts to do what he's doing.
Yeah. Maybe.
No, definitely. There's no other churches that I don't know of any. I heard of one other pastor speaking about it. And that's it. So you have all of Christendom living on a sphere still. And when it's presented to them, they consider it a distraction and a cause of division sent in by Lucifer himself. So how do you get around that?
I don't know, Neil.
Well, I do. It's Adam's question. When you're looking at Joshua 10, this is what it says. What do you say, Christian?
Don't say Christian.
What do you say, Bible believer? You say you stand on the word of God, and the word of God is your authority. Why is it not your authority right here? And there's a couple other places we went over, right, yesterday. How we turned the sundial back. So why is it not your authority here, but everywhere else it's your authority? It's a problem.
It's the same question I put to a load of Muslims at the train station in Amsterdam. When was that? 2019. There's about 3 or 4 of them, and they were just chatting and stuff. And one of them was a flat earther, I think. One wasn't, and he was citing, how scientific the Quran is, etc., etc. It describes this, etc., etc. It describes the way a heliocentric stuff. Then I took him to some bits of some of it, which quite categorically state it's flat. How the sky is rolled out flat over the surface. And it was the same question I asked them. So how do you believe in your Quran and what it tells you, or do you not? And it's the same, like I said yesterday, it's not about being a Christian. It's about believing in your scripture, how you value your scripture. Muslims believe it's derived from God, theirs. So they are very hardcore in their withholding on it. And there's a certain section of the Christian community that are, I would say, are Bible believing. And it's just these certain sections where they don't believe the Bible, where it contradicts heliocentrism. They don't appear to believe the Bible anymore. And that I just find very strange position. Your faith is so strong and challenged by heliocentrism.
Well, let me tell you what my wife did with that question. Not to cut you off, but let me tell you what my wife did with that question. She's a flat earther. She knows it's flat. She knew right away what I was getting at. She turned around and said God could do anything. So in other words, Joshua really didn't tell the earth, when he told the earth to sit still in the sky, however he phrased it, actually earth stopped rotating. And we know what would happen if that was the case. But God could do anything.
Yes, God
Yeah,
can.
I agree, but it doesn't say it in Scripture.
So this is the point there. God can, but what he doesn't do is lie. If you believe that the Bible is the derived word of God, and he's not going to lie to you in it, telling you he did one thing when he did the other. Now, that's not to say I'm challenging whether he could do one thing or the other. Of course he can, he's God. But what he's not going to do is lie to you in the Bible about what he did. He doesn't need to. He's telling you that this book is truth. Not this book is a lie, and actually it's the complete opposite of what happened. That's the premise. We're not saying God can and can't do things. We're saying God's done certain things, and one of the certain things he's done is giving you the Bible, a book of truth.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing right there, because it talks about the circuit, talks about the movement of the sun, how it comes out of his chamber like a bridegroom, right? Prepared to run a race. So right there in Scripture, it's clear that the sun is moving, correct? So, of course, Joshua would bid the sun to stay still in the sky so they could win a certain battle, right? Lasted a whole day. Okay, beautiful. So why would Joshua bid the earth to stand still when it clearly says that the earth is established and does not move, right?
Exactly. It's quite clear to me. I don't.
Yeah. That was one of the first ones that they stumble across, and you're like, it's over. It's over, and you're expecting this influx of Christians to like find this out and eyes open, then wow. Nope. Got the total opposite. Total opposite. That's a distraction. You're causing division. The most important thing is the blood of Christ. It doesn't matter. It's not important for salvation. Okay, so the foundation of God's word is unimportant. Okay. Genesis is not important anymore. And this is what bothers me.
Not important for salvation, no. That's a fair point, but that's a non sequitur.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a non sequitur argument.
We're talking about, is it all of the word of God, or you just want to keep this little thing because somehow you're believing that mankind knows more now? Come on.
What?
Mankind knows more now. That's why.
You think
They didn't know that. They didn't know. That's what they're saying.
How would you know when you don't know what the past people knew and forgot and what
That's
has
a whole
been
different
taken
point.
from us? How do you know we know more now than people in the past did?
That's a whole different point. What they're saying is they know more now, so therefore he wouldn't have said sun stay still. He would have said earth stop rotating. That's what they're doing. They're actually thinking that man knows more now.
So that point you see then, Neil, means it's not the derived word of God, doesn't it? It doesn't mean that it means that the people weren't inspired through God to write it. They just made up what they thought the earth was then. Therefore, it's not true. It's not the derived word of God. That's what they're saying, you see. When they mitigate like that, they deny the provenance of the Bible to a Bible believer. Yeah? They're now denying the provenance of what the book is by mitigating, by saying, oh, no, it was just Joshua is a bit thick. He didn't really know what it was, so he described it like that. Did he? Through God?
Right. The right word from God, except for that part, though.
Yeah. You see? This is where they're abandoning provenance of the Bible when it's contradicted by heliocentrism.
And it also talks clearly about what the heavenly bodies are for times and seasons, correct?
And prophecy, yeah, I think as well, is it?
Well,
right.
And the seasons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big part, of course.
As I said, times and seasons, that's what they're there for. But no, now it's all twisted. And there's got to be a challenging, and that's why I feel that the church, or let's just say Bible believers, they need to be challenged with this. Where are you going to stand?
The seasons is a very critical thing with the whole celestials, because if you didn't know about seasons, then yeah, it might get winter. You'd get crazy, suicidal, paranoid if you've never like experienced that. If you're like in a country, in a region where that normally doesn't happen. But because of the consistency of the swing of the celestials going back and forth, you can literally be able to predict that just based on the previous star sightings during the previous seasonal cycle. And so, yeah, it's the seasons. Without the celestial, you wouldn't know that it all was a swing of the pendulum situation and back and forth. You wouldn't necessarily know that. But with the stars and how they behave angular-wise, you can prove that.
Correct. And this is what frustrates me with people like Kent Holbein, right? How does he, I want to hear how he would get around Joshua.
Dude, his cosmology is weird. Did you see that episode where he basically tried to argue with visuals and everything how the molten iron core was biblical? I mean, that guy goes all over the place, and it's a
He's
mess.
a liar.
Yeah, he did that.
He's a liar. If he's considering, because hell is beneath, that's the proof of the molten iron core, hell, then he's out of his cotton picking mind.
It's worse than that. It is way worse. I mean, he's like a full-on ball believer and like to childish levels. And he's like afraid.
Okay, then he's
to go
all right,
there. He
Owen,
is
if he
afraid to
is-
go there. He hates it. He hates
Owen,
fire.
if he is Owen, when we know he is, then he needs to give me an answer for Joshua chapter 10, amongst a few other ones where the sundial was turned back and things like that.
Oh, I'm
needs to
sure
give an
he
answer
will
for that.
give you an explanation that to his satisfactory is definitely sufficient to explain that from a Glober's perspective. You're
No,
not going to
it's the
settle
word of
for it because it's going to be a mess, but he will definitely be convinced that he has an explanation for that.
So he doesn't believe in the word of God. He's not a Bible believing Christian.
No, he does. He just believes in
No, he
it
doesn't.
differently than you do.
You
That's
just
how
told me he didn't. Adam, didn't Owen just tell me he didn't believe in the Bible?
Yeah, you just.
What? You're talking about Ken Hogan, right? Not me.
No, we're talking about Kent Holbein.
He's a dude. He went to jail for that. He's like real. He's been fighting for that since the 90s, openly, for Christianity and creationism.
Well, he's a Bible denier.
No, he's not. Not as long what he thinks, at least.
Adam, is Kent
Yeah, but
Holbein
that's
a Bible denier?
well, that would be the point I'm making.
Yep.
Yeah, that unfortunately he does appear, as much as he's used scripture to defend his position of creationism, and in those arguments, he would probably say, I'm a Bible believer. But then when we get to the nature of earth and what some of the scripture says, he clearly would deny the Bible, what it says. And he would reverse his whole argument. And when he's attacking creationism, he uses the validity of the Bible. That's his evidence. Because he's talking to other Bible believers. It's no use to me, that. Yeah, it's no use to you, Owen, but to a Bible believer, that is the best evidence, yeah?
Well, it's kind of weird for you guys to say he literally runs a church. Like, has a lot of people that follow him.
Doesn't matter.
He gets it wrong, but he is definitely like a very strict Bible believer, but from the baller perspective.
No, he's not.
That's my point. That's my accusation. Clearly, by your own demonstration, you're not a Bible believer.
I'd love him to go head on with that confrontation with us. He's gone against other flat earthers in the past that kind of threw out the Feast of Nonsense horse shit and all that. But I'd love to have a genuine debate like with us at a calm tone. That would be pretty amazing.
Listen, John Shelton has family members that attend his church. John Shelton which is refracted curvature, reached out to him. It's very telling that he won't come on Flat Earth debate or even have a discussion about it. The man does not believe the Bible. He believes what man says we are living on. He believes that we're in a solar system, but he can't show it to me in Scripture. Right? He cannot show me that in Scripture.
Well,
but I could show him in Scripture where the sun stood still in the sky. End of story. The game is over.
So get him in here and make it happen. I mean, I've been looking forward to that happening for a long time. I had an old flat earther friend way before 2050. Some of you might have heard of that story, who was like really into Kent Hovind and got into flat earth and Eric DeBay a bit and all that very early, 2012 or something, 13. And he eventually got threatened by some Freemason not to talk about flat earth, and then he hopped on Kent Hovind and just like, no, it's a ball. Don't talk about flat earth to me. Because literally being threatened, literally. So I think Kent Hovind went to jail a while back. I'm pretty damn sure that he got very seriously threatened and he's like part of a program now.
That's what I'm saying. When you put it like that.
If you don't do what we tell you to talk about these things, you go back to jail kind of deal.
Yeah, since you brought it out like that explains a lot. Yeah, he's under control. You're not going to get him in here. Our hope is with the regular common man, the everyday man, for their eyes to be opened up. And just, if you're a Bible believer, just let's have a conversation about Joshua chapter 10. Because in Joshua chapter 10, it's totally contrary to what you're taught in school and what your belief system is now. You're in a belief system. Don't you want to be in a no-so system?
Instead of belief system, go for the no system. I like that.
Right. And we here know that Earth is flat because of the things that we discuss. We're not in a belief anymore. If we ever were. Maybe in the beginning we were until we were educated. Now we're educated and we have a no-so attitude. We know Earth is flat because it's measured flat. We know Earth is flat because it's navigated flat. We know Earth is flat because the globe came from flat Earth measurements, correct? We know that we can't be in a system where there's a vacuum above us and still be alive. So we have a no-so attitude.
We know that there can't be a seemingly infinite volume of void next to this very small, relatively amount of volume filled with gas pressure. It can never work like that. There can be gradients, but the gradation is always going to reflect upon the entirety of the available volume.
So you're saying if there was a space, gas pressure would fill it?
Yes, and then after it's filled, it try to gradiate however that's going to happen.
Well, then, Houston, we have a problem here. Because according to what I'd say maybe 95% of the world believes, that don't happen.
Well, they don't have anything to demonstrate for that claim of that it happens differently. I mean, we can actually demonstrate how a closed system with gas in it can be made to gradiate by having temperature influences on the closed medium. And that's provable. So we can prove that a closed medium can form a gas pressure gradient under certain conditions. What do the Globers have to show for? Absolutely nothing. Pointing outside and saying it is as I say it is, and that's it.
But I still think it goes back to the science and scientific method. Most of the world, look at with Jordan Peterson. He's a pseudoscientist who thinks he's a scientist. He just needs to be re-educated. Needs to be.
I don't think there's any point to, I mean, Jordan Peterson is a very dirty, creepy man who has connections with very dirty, creepy people. Dude, yeah. I don't know if that's still like relevant or if you can still talk about that, Nathan. But I mean, he's a guy that literally did lectures that people would have to pay for to sit there, and you'd have to be vaxxed. Like, he did that to like everybody. He's that kind of guy. So
why did I get a mention?
I didn't know if there was going to be some kind of risk mentioning vaxes or whatever. I don't know.
You really don't know the YouTube terms of service at all, do you, Arwin?
It keeps changing, man.
You should keep up with it. Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
No, he'll just cry. He'll just Nathan
showing me it works differently now. That's how I keep up with it.
No, Nathan, he'll cry when he gets what do you call it? When he gets his channel shut down again, then you'll cry about it.
No, he won't. He's doing it on air. Just a little bit.
I'm having no problem. I mean, I'm not putting it in the title. I'm not like, oh, let's talk about this very specific subject, full out, all about. No, that's not what I do. But yeah, I bring it up, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't seem to matter. They've downgraded the threat level of talking about it now. They just have. It's noticeable.
All right, well, let's not talk about it on here. Let's get back to the important things like we were talking about.
Right, but you were talking about, well, we can get him to our side. Well, I'm telling you, Jordan Peterson is very, very far to the other side, and there's no way back for that guy. Absolutely not.
A full-on born-again Christian again now, isn't he?
Yeah, sure. He's also still a full-on Zionist.
I don't know what he was on about with the other stuff. As far as I'm aware, he was very the opposite side of that previous debate. Just to pull it back, just to move, because I don't want to talk about it. Just to go back to what last night, Nathan, we were discussing this phrase, and I pointed out to QE, as far as I can see, the Bible is describing a GP elevation angle, roughly. So when it describes, well, I'll read it. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon. If you're stood in a position there, they are elevation angles. If you looked at it, you say, oh yeah, the sun's over Gibeon. Now Gibeon's over there. Look, its azimuth line is directly with Gibeon. And the moon, well, its azimuth lined up with the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still and the moon stopped. Right? It didn't say the earth stopped rotating. It's quite clear, yeah, what the request was and what the action was. So this is the other point. What was the request? Sun, stand still, and moon, yeah, for them to stay still. Not for me to start rotating. So you've got to have double mitigation of both the request and then the definitive statement of the text of what then happened with the sun standing still and the moon stopping. To me, it's completely unequivocal. There's no room to mitigate. But yeah, I think you've got two GPs described, or at least azimuths, I think, described.
Definitely.
Yeah, but wouldn't relativity explain how it would be just a matter of perspective and it's the Earth rotating anyway? Right? Wouldn't that be a rebuttal?
Point, Arwin. This is the...
Listen to what Adam said.
Right. So yes, it could be, Arwin, but what would that mean? What would that say about the script? It means the script is incorrect. Now, as a Bible believer, that's what you're saying. If you believe in heliocentricism, you're saying those parts of the Bible which don't comport with heliocentrism are incorrect.
No. Here's why. You just say, nah, it's just a a matter of perspective. It's technically still true. It's just described from the perspective of the people back then. And that's it.
That's what I just said before. You can't go by
not a
that. You
response.
can't lean on that.
It will work for them. That's how they do it.
Then they're not Bible believing people. That's fine.
Good luck with
Tell
that.
me you believe in the Bible.
That's absolutely fine.
I could do that with you, perhaps. Not that I'm going to, but I mean, yeah. Are you going to convince them? No, you're not actually Bible-believing Christians. Hey, good luck, man.
Just look at your response. You can't defend the position. You can only say, yeah, they'll just ignore it. And that's that. I can't stop somebody putting a finger in their ears and going la 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 la. Yeah. But in their own heart, they know, don't they? So if it doesn't matter the outward response, the point is there isn't a rebuttal, is there? The only way to rebut it, to keep the heliocentrum, is to change the meaning of the text, which, as I say, is unequivocal. There's no argument about what the text is saying, what's doing what the request was, more fundamentally, yeah? Sun, stand still. And you, moon, yeah? Not Earth, stop turning. Right? What is the response to the request? The sun stood still and the moon stopped.
In alliance, and it lines up with how it's described in the Bible as the sun making its circuit. So we know it's the sun moving, and we know it's the moon moving. So the word of God is true. Now, why are you bracing against it?
The computer
To me, it's cut and dry. Game over. Now, it's just a matter of getting that out there to a wider audience, or just not care. Like, who's the one that said it'll be our secret? We know. Nathan always talks about it. So, as long as we know, we could just smirk at everybody else and like, oh, these idiots still believe they're on a spinning water ball. Oh, boy. But that's kind of selfish.
Anyway, the other thing I've noticed, Dean Odell must be doing a few ripples because Roofy's bothered to attack him now. Got a Roofy video. It's your boy Dean Odell. Makes you wonder why they're bothering to attack him.
Is this Roofy's video?
Yeah, we could play or.
I can't hear anything.
I've not pressed play yet. I was waiting. I said, do you want me to play?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you ask. Yes, please.
I'll play.
So I'm sure everyone saw the debate a week or two ago. I think it was on the 2nd of December in America, 3rd of December in Australia. It was between two pastors. One's a Glober and the other one's a Flurf. And at the end, the Glober basically rage quitted the Flurf, and it was freaking hilarious. But if you haven't seen it, here's the last little bit where Pastor Greg Locke, who's the Glober, kicks out the pastor Dean Odell, who's the Flurf, and it's absolutely glorious.
Now, this was the bit I was waiting for. It's not glorious. It's the most civilized fight I've ever seen.
First of all,
hello, is it sunrise or not?
Not at all. I don't agree with you.
Turn his mic off. Get out.
Wow.
You're a Bible denier. You're a Bible denier. You're a Bible denier.
Wait, who was calling who a Bible denier?
Yeah, that's why I paused it, Neil.
Who was calling who?
The person that would say that the earth stopped turning when the Bible says the sun and the moon stood still is calling Dean Odell here on screen a Bible denier.
Oh
the person
my God.
Is doing exactly that, yeah.
Oh my God. There's no hope.
Wait, the guy that's denying that it happens is calling the guy that mentioned that it is happening a denier?
No, the guy who's denying scripture is telling Dean Odell he's denying scripture.
Because he denies that the sun and moon stood still in the Bible, correct?
The ball believer who believes in the Bible is saying that the flat earther is a Bible denier.
Oh, right. So because, yeah, so it's projection then. They're denying and they're just like, no, you.
Yeah.
Okay. That wasn't clear at first, so.
That was glorious.
But where was his,
Anyway,
where was his backing? Did he show Dean Odell in scripture where Dean is denying the Bible?
I don't think Ruth is interested in that particular line. It was just to show them fighting.
Yeah, that's all they care about. He's an anti-flat earther, so he gets his rocks off with this. But I'll tell you what, even if it's a ripple, even if we drop a pedal in the water, it creates a ripple. And then one day, a big rock falls in the water, and it creates a bigger ripple. You go, Dean.
I think we're already turning into a waterfall.
I was watching the debate and thought I might do a quick stalk of his YouTube channel and see what he's about. And that third video where he did a curvature test across Mobile Bay in Alabama looked pretty interesting. Now, the video itself was released in May of 2022, but it refers to an observation that was done in April of 2016. And it might be good to remember that because it will be an important part of the observation. Now, he didn't give an exact observer location. He just said they were at North Beach Park in Fairhope, Alabama.
Pause it again just for... So we're now going to criticise the pastor's setup as he's going to measure curvature. Hey, Wolfie.
Yeah,
well, they were looking northwest across Mobile Bay.
Right, you guys going to have to pay attention to the screen so you can see when Adam presses play. Because otherwise you're just talking over the beginning of the video each time.
Sorry.
Up to the city of Mobile. So I've done my best to work out where they were based on a couple of photos, and my best guess for their coordinates is at the bottom. He does give the observer height for the observation as 6 feet, and judging by these photos, I think the camera is probably around 5 feet off the sand. And what I've seen happen a lot with flirfs when they go to the beach is they really seem to...
How do you get the height? Right. What's the height with respect to?
I assume sea level.
Sea level?
Level, yes.
So in order to start this discussion, Rufy, we're going to be discussing his height of elevation with respect to a plane of reference, in this case sea level. I see. So we'll need a flat earth for that. We'll just count them off, shall we?
Well, yeah. First thing is what's he doing now? First thing, he's going to argue the observer height. He's going to get more height. First thing he's going to do is challenge that. He'll say he's about 40 foot, won't he, Rufy?
More height off a flat plane, more height with respect to sea level, with respect to the plane that he's referencing that height to. So he's going to need a flat earth for that. We will count them off as he requires them.
Yep.
To underestimate just how much the beach slopes away to the water. So, like when I was on Jaron's Debatism platform about a month ago, my opponent, Nicholas Quinn, swore up and down that he was 5 feet above the water. But when you analyse his footage, you can actually show that he was at least 10 feet above the water. So yeah, flirfs are terrible at estimating stuff. You know, who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk that you'd have needed a surface that's flat to reference these heights and say that he's 10 feet with respect to sea level rather than 6 feet with respect to sea level? So he's going to need to reference sea level. That's 2.
Hold on. Not sea curve, sea level?
Sea level.
Oh, dear.
So, of course, Dean Odell used the curve calculator without refraction, which is simply a straight-up denial of the measurable density gradient in the atmosphere. And he used an...
What? Density gradient? Is he talking about terrestrial refraction?
What is 7/6R refraction?
He's getting his little dose of... He's getting his little dose of pain relief in advance, isn't he? Offering up the mitigation in advance.
This is why the bullshit I'm about to feed you will work, because of this bullshit. You see? Because of the density gradient in the atmosphere, we're now going to invoke 7/6R, by bare minimum. Bare minimum.
That's not what he said, though, is it? That's not what he said, though, is it, Rufy? That's not accounting for the stuff that we experience in physical reality. It's not got to do with your maths and your curve calculations that are debunked. They've got a name, haven't they? Begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. I don't think we need to take into account anything in physical reality when we're taking account for a Muppet vision calculator that's got a surface level that's flat, when it's a differential calculation between the eye level and the surface level, as laid down in the maths. So this is a flat Earth requirement. How are you going to get surface level in these maths? You'll need a flat Earth for
an
that.
Observer.
That's 3.
Height of 6 feet, which, as I said, the true height is probably around 10 to 12 feet. Anyway, he gets a hidden height of 60 feet. I'm really not going to hassle him too hard on the observer height and the coordinates, because you'll see in the next part, it really doesn't matter all that much.
So you're not going to hassle him about the height that you've just gone through? With respect to his 6 feet elevation, with respect to surface level, sea level, in this regard, as a plane of reference. And you're saying his height, number 2, in terms of how many flat Earths you're going to need for this example, is actually a different height with respect to surface level, sea level, the surface level, the plane of reference that you're talking about when you give his height. Okay, now you're talking about how much is going to be hidden in the calculation. No. If Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And the distance to the horizon in the Black Swan, Ruhif, is beyond the geometric limitations that would infer that they can block things to give a hidden value. How long's it been, Ruhif? 4 years? You just thick? Yeah, you are. We know. This isn't going to offer you any pain relief as we rip it to shreds, Rufy. That's 3 so far. His height with respect to sea level, the height you say he is with respect to sea level, and the differential between eye level and surface level in your maths. That's 3 flat Earths you need so far.
I'll just put it out there that if we use a better estimate of around 10 to 12 feet, we'd get a hidden height of around 35 to 40 feet, assuming standard refraction.
Sorry, hidden feet and inches value. I'm slightly confused. See, when you describe things in the distance being hidden with a feet and inches value, that doesn't account for their angular resolution. Now, I've already detailed how this is a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, yet you're more than content to ignore that, aren't you, Rufy? Right? On your little channel no one's watching. Yeah, well, we are. And that feet and inches value won't change with distance, will it? So when you say it's hidden to the tune of X, Y, Z feet or meters, that doesn't account for the fact that hashtag shit shrinks, you bonehead.
Money shot. All those cranes and stuff in the foreground are in the Alabama port area, which is around 12.5 miles. And the buildings in the back are actually closer to 14 miles. But what Dean gets all excited about is this boat on the right-hand side. I mean, look at it. I mean, we have no idea what boat it is or how far away it is, but it should be hidden by 60 feet of curvature, right? And we can see the hull sitting in the water.
Sorry, excuse me.
Well,
should be hidden by what now? A physical geometric sphere edge obstruction we debunked in 2020, Ruhif. Did this feel like pain relief with the enthusiastic tone that you're giving out on your video there? Wow, look at this boat! What, blocked by a physical geometric sphere edge horizon? So me asking you how that geometric horizon's working out for you is falling on deaf ears now, as it's been completely forgotten, has it, Ruhif? Now it's what? A physical geometric sphere horizon because your opponent's claiming it for you. Is that the way you've got around this? Yeah? Deviation of pain relief by your opponent who's saying it's Earth curve, they're not getting in the way. So look, my opponent says the Earth curve horizon's not getting in the way. Yeah, how's that geometric horizon working out for you, Rufy? Good? Yeah? Well, good?
His response seems to be to go and work out geometric horizons. It's sad.
Pathetic.
I know what boat that is. I know what boat that is, even when the observation was done back in April of 2016. So you see that big overhead crane in the middle there, Dean? The one that's in your photo, right on top of the boat? Yeah, that's on Pinto Island, which also happens to be a shipyard. You know what they build in shipyards, Dean? Ships. And the ship they were building in April 2016 was this ship. It's called Ocean Evolution, and it was built by British Aerospace.
What's that tone in his voice? Is it endorphin release? Is that what this is?
It's got your excitement.
He thinks he has a win.
So exciting. I'm so moist over this. I already knew where the boat was. Yeah, meanwhile, since you figured this out quite some time ago, why don't you just rewind the clock to old observations when you find people republishing them in modern times? So that you can have that little endorphin release about, oh yeah, I remember when we used to argue the horizon was a physical geometric sphere edge. Oh, yeah. How's that pain relief working out right about now, Rufy? Still moist over this? Yeah? Horizon's not Earth curve, mate. How's that geometric horizon working out for you, Rufy? Yeah, maybe rewind the clock to 2016 where you knew what was what and how you could argue this. Yeah, we took that away from you quite some time ago, my friend.
He hasn't progressed. He's in a time warp.
This rush of endorphins isn't going to last more than about 30 seconds while he produces the video and then wear off really quickly, only to go into that what do they call it when crack addicts have the lull? What's that called, Adam?
Crash.
The crash. This is the crash, Rufy.
Belongs to a company called Oceaneering International, and you can see there the new offshore service vessel was built at BAE Systems Southeast Shipyards before the Mobile, Alabama-based facility.
This is all very boring,
and that
Rufy.
link is from July 2019. And there's a great video on YouTube where you can actually see it being launched into the water.
Wow.
Here's a screenshot from that video where you can get a feel for just how enormous this boat is. And just to confirm that this is the actual boat in Dean's footage.
No way.
The date that this launch video was posted was in July of 2017.
Amazing.
Which is about a year after Dean's observation.
Absolutely amazing.
So hopefully that's pretty obvious now that this boat...
If only it was still then, Rufy? Yeah? Wouldn't be able to laugh at you with your geometric horizon obstruction, formerly known as Earth curve, would we? If it was still 2017, this endorphin rush would have lasted quite some time. I'm sure you could have dragged it out for weeks. Oh, what a nice flashback for Rufy, eh? I bet in the moment this really did satisfy him. I could hear it in his voice. Couldn't they, Rufy? Dedicated that little endorphin release to tape.
That's why he makes the videos, Nathan. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but look at what's happening, though. I mean, technically, he seems to be having this endorphin rush because he already made up his mind about winning the argument because he invoked terrestrial refraction. So that already is sufficient proof to counter any, there's a lack of curvature claim in his mind. And he's building all up to just that.
That's what's happening. Absolutely correct. So Arwin's pointing out that this only works because of his preordained mitigation that he offered up at the beginning of the video. So he's lying to himself. This is so sad.
Yep.
But he's found the boat.
It's definitely the boat, though. Definitely. Amazing revelation that is.
No, it's a red herring. It's a red herring to his own argument, even.
No, hang on to the little bit of truth that's in there.
But it's a red herring to his claim of terrestrial refraction defeating the entire claim of lack of Earth curvature.
If you tell him that now, he'll
red
crash.
herring to his own argument.
He'll crash early if you go telling him that.
I am right? He is doing that.
Yeah, but don't ruin it for him, poor lad.
Boat is not sitting in the water, and there's not 60 feet of missing curvature. But just for completeness, let's do a little analysis on the image. So I did my absolute best to line things up in Google Earth, but you'll see in a second that it's nowhere near
isn't
perfect.
this sweet?
The main thing that I wanted to line up was the overhead crane, but then the buildings behind it were a little bit off.
It's just like 2017 again,
It's
isn't it,
possible that
Rufy?
maybe the crane is...
Where does Google Earth come from?
Isn't this sweet? Is he going to break it down per pixel and give us a feet and inches value? Oh, but it's just like old times for you.
It shows how many milliradians they are and work it all out now.
Is the odd one out, and I should have lined it up.
I don't want to watch
building
this.
heights.
Sorry, Adam.
Anyway, if you
just spin on, just spin to about 2/3 of the way through. We don't need any of this garbage. You know, literally, Rufy, here, right? This is so benign that we're going to hand wave the entire section of you doing your 2017 little dance. We're not even going to watch you dance. No, it's so sad and pathetic that we're not even going to watch it. We're just going to see your conclusion. We've been here before, haven't we, Rufy? Yeah, we don't need to see you do this. We've just summarised it quite succinctly, didn't we? Yeah? Pathetic.
We've got yellow lines, so we now
just
know
spin
where
through all the yellow lines. Yeah, all the pixels.
But
and
is
feet and
that a
inches.
geometric horizon or is it an apparent horizon?
Maybe we could
Because
ask
you can't
Rufy.
see the
We'll
geometric
ask.
horizon if it's terrestrially refracted.
We'll ask him. Maybe we could ask Rufy. How's that geometric horizon working out for you, Rufy, as we spin through this? We don't need this. We've seen it multitudes of times prior to the Black Swan.
observation.
Good.
Even bigger, sorry.
No, bigger was better.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. This Dean now.
Okay.
Interested in the truth and would want to correct any honest mistakes, I hit up Dean Odell during the debate and let him know that the boat that he's looking at isn't on the water.
Oh my God. So it's the same ploy as yesterday. We watched him attack Jaren yesterday. Was that in the after show? Probably you've gone, Nathan. But it's the same thing. He's setting up the same straw man. And then if you don't say yes, agreeing to everything he's just set up there, his yellow lines and all that, if you answer no to that, then he calls you disingenuous because he's demonstrated to you clearly where the Earth curve is, that is the Earth curve. And because it matches his globe model, if you say no, you're disingenuous. And I think this is probably where he'll go because this is what he's done to Jaren.
It's actually on land. And I even let him know the name of the ship they were building. And then last Thursday, I even sent him the video of it being launched into the water. Now, that's almost a week ago. And I just want to draw your attention to that tiny little black dot right here. So Dean has seen all of this, and he saw it almost a week ago.
Wow.
So what's his argument?
This has nothing to do with the argument.
Yeah, what's his argument that Dean didn't know it was
sorry,
on the land?
guys. Did you miss me doing the violin? So we rewound time to 2017. Oh, I'll do that now for you. Sorry, I'll just do that now so we all know where this argument lies. And we're back in 2017. So I see that little dot. It's all about the boat and where the boat is in regards to the geometric physical limitation we call Earth curve, Neil. His opponent made that clear. It's supposed to be blocked and isn't, but it isn't actually supposed to be blocked by the geometric horizon we all know the Earth curve is. Neil, you understand now we're back in 2017.
No,
But he already invoked terrestrial refraction, though.
He doesn't have to now. It's got the black dot. Yeah?
The black
because
dot, Neil.
the black dot, it means Dean's read it, which means if he's not responded, Rufy's right.
Yeah.
See, look at the standards.
It's like we did.
With a big arrow. That's how important that black dot is.
It's like we did with the scientists. Sorry, we're back in 2023, I'm afraid. Neil, do you remember when Brian got in touch with the scientist and asked her about how Earth would be turning underneath aeroplanes? And she responded by saying, Earth is turning underneath stuff. You just don't understand, flat earther. And then we had a damn good laugh about how she undid her own argument. He's doing that, but just with this black dot. Look, he's seen my argument that this is the boat. Back in 2017, where the horizon was still geometrically, physically obstructing things, and this opponent saying it should be blocking this boat, but isn't blocking the boat, but it shouldn't be blocking the boat when it is not supposed to be blocking the boat because it's above land, because it's in a shipyard, and he's seen it, therefore Earth's a globe. Perfectly reasonable argument, offered in plenty of endorphins. Are we all clear now?
Clear.
You got a black swan argument and a black dot argument.
Black dot every time.
Isn't a black dot basically a one-dimensional black swan?
I'm pressing play.
All of this. And he saw it almost a week ago. But no response.
So Rufy saw the black swan 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And yet he's still rewinding time to 2017 and saying he saw this a week ago. Maybe that would have been useful in 2017. Meanwhile, how's that geometric horizon working out for you, Rufy? Good? Well? Yeah? Dumbo.
Yeah, but Nathan,
Response?
the boat wasn't in the water. It
wasn't,
on the
you,
land.
Neil. You're right. Meanwhile, the horizon's on Earth curve.
Last 10.
Almost a week ago. But no response, no acknowledgement, not even a, thanks, I'll look into it. So, Dean, how do you think this might look to your parishioners? Like, to me, it kind of looks like you're hiding something.
Or is that a threat? How does it look to your parishioners? What?
No, it's just he's suspicious because of the black dot.
How does the black swan look to your parishioners?
No, I mean, why wouldn't he be suspicious? He made a presentation about the Earth curve being violated by a black swan observation, and then Rufy pointed out, yeah, but the ship was on land. And he didn't respond to that. That's very suspicious.
Very. Meanwhile, the horizon's not Earth curve. It was debunked 4 years ago.
Here's from a week ago, the same 2017 argument. So, Jaron, have I correctly identified the ship? Does the obstructed portion of the ship match the globe prediction? This is the standards, by the way. We're back, as you say, but he's bothered to highlight it now.
Sorry, that's a good question. Match the globe prediction? What, like Earth being a sphere radius 3959 and every distance to horizon being no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer site in feet, as in the globe prediction? Yeah, that didn't work well 4 years ago and still don't work well now. I mean, if we rewound time, maybe you could hold that little prediction up like it was worth something. That begging the question, proof of nothing. Perspective omitting curve calculator, as we were calling it at the time. Yeah, it still didn't stand up to scrutiny then either, really, did it, Rufy? It's just we were in discussion and there was no absolute cast iron annihilation in the form of the Black Swan, like there is now. Hence us asking you how your geometric horizon's working out for you. Not how are your parishioners going to see this. Jaron also took apart Brenda using that argument. Maybe you didn't see that episode, Rufy. So Jaron, this was directed towards him, was it? I'm pretty sure Jaron's aware that the horizon's not Earth curve either. Yeah, he put that exact position to Brenda to shut her down like I'm shutting you down. Good choice, Adam. Always good fun to poke at Rufy.
It's interesting to see, though, as you've noticed, how far he's gone back, where he's gone back to, who he's doing it to.
And maybe Jaron will get back in the tete-a-tete with him about it, keeping that feast of nonsense discussion well and truly alive into 2024 when it was debunked in 2020. Maybe that's the whole purpose of this fixed game that we've been discussing. As long as Rufy gets the opportunity to stack this up in false dichotomy, that is kept alive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just enough pain relief for Rufy, clearly. Just enough to keep him going on the globe. Oh, sweet.
Right, everybody contributes their faith to the world, and that way sustain it.
Yeah.
Facts have to play into that.
You're just a pathetic globe cuck propping up everyone's faith while you lie to yourself, Rufy. It's really pathetic.
I think there might be more lying going off in these videos. Me and Brian watched that journalism one yesterday, and there's a number of things. I'll not spoil it because Brian's doing some work on it, but there's a simple thing, and it's interesting that he's done something different today. You know, I said he'll always work with the height. Now, in the German video, he goes to Google Earth and there's a certain height, and he wants to change the height, and he does the most convoluted thing to basically double the height from 7 meters to 14 meters. Then he uses his globe Earth stuff to say, oh, look, the maths matches the globe prediction, or the image matches the globe prediction. This much of the boat is hidden, having doubled the height. Here, he wants to get the image to match the globe prediction again. Now, he does point out at the beginning that actually he disputes that this guy is 6 foot above the water. It must be double that. But when he does the maths, he keeps it at that. And the reason he keeps it at that is because it's going to match the image. The supposition you can put into the image will match the supposition of Earth curve, i.e. the numbers will approximate. You'll see that roughly that much not resolved, or in his world, obscured. It's interesting the way he's used the numbers in the two videos. Both time he accepts the numbers that match his globe, but he has different standards for each one. One he changes, even though it's off Google Earth, to get his numbers to match in the German one. And this one, he takes the flat earthers numbers, but he disputes them. But he doesn't use his own numbers, because if he did, then everything would be visible, wouldn't it? So then his image wouldn't match his calculation. Therefore, he couldn't put that question, are you being genuine because it matches? It's well constructed, because without the two,
well
you don't know.
constructed? It's a Texas sharpshooter fallacy.
Yeah.
You put the target around the shots after they've been fired. Oh, well, the shots have been fired. Here's the observation. Well, it works if I move the target up to this height. Then it works and matches my observation and prediction. Likewise, I predict I can get all of the shots in the target. Bang, 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 bang at the barn door. Oh, look, that's quite a good group. I'll just hang the target over them, poke holes through, and look, good grouping, good target, excellent, on point, excellent. Texas sharpshooter fallacy, textbook.
He's a skank, isn't he?
That's the best he's got to relieve his pain.
State of affairs.
That's the best he's got. Fallacy's better than nothing, right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, his fallacy's acquisition of heights requires a flat plane. First thing he did. You're going to argue about the heights off a flat plane? You need a flat plane for that.
Doesn't matter. The boat was on the land.
Doesn't matter in 2017. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and Cheapest panels for making today's after show possible. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!